I've always thought it'd be a good idea to do an OnlyFans and put like these my barefoot pics, and then it's just you barefooting.
Here's what I was going to do. How
long did you spend thinking about that idea?
I put some effort into it.
I haven't launched this yet, but it's in the works. You can send me like, I'll set up your fin or your ski, whatever. I'll film it and whatever.
I wouldn't trust you to do that.
Only fins.
I approve waterboarding. We're talking about wakeboarding. The thing about wakeboarding, every trick is an invert.
Backside.
Air railings.
A new dimension.
All right, we are back. Another episode of the Grab Matters podcast. We got some special guests in today. We got all recurring guests, water skiers, for those wakeboarders who don't know. We got Brooks Wilson on the far left. Thanks for coming. Joel Poland, another champ to his right. How you doing?
Good to be back.
Good to have you back. And then we got Freddie Winter on the right. How's it going, Freddie?
Perfectly. Very happy to be here.
Okay, so why don't you do that smelling salt you're holding on to then? Brooks was kind enough to bring some smelling salts. So we got two. Neither of you have done them, right?
No, I've never. And it's
Ready?
a respiratory stimulant for inhalation only. I'm
Don't
sort of
eat it. We're not going to eat it.
I wasn't planning to. I'm apprehensive. All right. So what? You just one of these?
Yeah. Little cheers.
So what do we do with this?
So you just crack it. It's like a little glass capsule, and then you crack it and.
Still hits.
Holy shit.
Woo! Yeah, I don't like it. Well, thanks, Brooks. That was awesome. We're really onto a flyer here.
Woo! I'm ready to go. I don't know about you guys.
You punch a camera yet, Joel?
Oh, I got the left side
Don't you
of
kind of
me.
want a little bit more now?
I feel like Brooks bought this just to sort of prove that like water skiers are cool. So look, we're so mental. We do smelling salts before our podcast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think
we're trying to fit into the wakeboard vibe, right?
Yeah, it's a big snowboard thing. They do it on snowboard podcast, so we'll let him
Shout
rip
out
here.
Bombhole.
Yeah, shout out Bombhole. It's kind of still in the nose right there a little bit.
I always cry.
All right, so where do you want to start, Brooks? Where do we start today? Because we got
Two champs. Masters champs.
Two champs.
In the building.
Yeah, I think we start with Joel because I got a lot I want to talk to Freddie about. Let's start with Joel. So you jumped 230 twice, right?
Yep.
All right. So I guess run us through the weekend, paint a little picture for us.
So it's a good build up. Well, I've been dealing with like a few injuries building up to it. And then the week before I said, screw the injuries. And I just started going like sort of building up. And then like by the time I get to the event, my body was like a little bit broken, but it was kind of one of those things where you just got to trust it. And we started off with the trick, and trick went great. Like everything kind of worked the way it was supposed to work. Was feeling pretty good. And ended up top seed. So I was pumped with that. And then we came into the jump and I scraped through to the final, like by 1 foot, like just got in. Things were not working the way they were meant to be working. So yeah, I wasn't super pumped about that, and like kind of had to like reevaluate what I was doing there and essentially just like find my nuts for the next day. And then we came out and everything kind of flipped the next day. I kind of messed up in the trick. I was the last guy out, top seed, and just didn't quite go to plan. So I ended up like coming out third.
They cut you though a lot, no?
Yeah, like the judges went pretty savage. They took a bunch of stuff. It wasn't like, even if they hadn't taken it, I wasn't going to win. I didn't do a big enough run to win.
Okay, I guess explain that to me though, because like, what does that mean? What, like, they
so
scrap stuff.
In trick, we have like 5 judges, and when you do the tricks, they tell you whether that's credit or not. You have to do them a specific way for the trick to be credit. So I started off my toe run, and I like basically put my foot in the water when I jumped over the rope on one of the tricks, which is like no credit. So that was on me, and that took me out of contention from winning. Then the second run, I definitely got a little bit just like split decision kind of thing there. I guess you can't
Joel.
really
be
say
careful.
that, yeah.
Be careful. You'll get in
Might
trouble
not be
for
allowed
that.
I'll
back.
bleep that out.
There's a social media clause in there, and this is social media.
Good point. But yeah, I didn't fully disagree with it. I didn't fully agree with it, but that's the way it went. And that was the difference between second and third, which is, not the end of the world, because it riled me up a little bit and kind of just felt like I had nothing to lose going into that jump event.
So you tricked 10-6.
Yep.
Or 10-6-8 or 10-6-7.
10-6-70.
And Dorian was 10-6-8.
Yeah.
So
like
10 points.
10 points difference.
Oh, the smallest increment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't
And there's
realized
not a trick that's worth less than 40.
Yeah. So.
And Joel doesn't deal in tricks worth it less than. I mean, your normal trick would be worth what? Like a typical Joel Poland trick's like 800 points.
800-900. Yeah. Well, like I got all the big
too
tricks.
little.
I
We'll
got
get
all
into
the
that
big
later maybe,
strokes,
but too
I just didn't
little.
get
Yeah.
the little ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how that went. But it was all right because sometimes when it goes wrong, it pisses you off, right?
Yeah.
So I was riled up, came into the jump, jump 1, slipped really hard, but went like 216 feet. So I was like, okay, everything's there. I just got to connect with it and kick it right.
What was your jump to get in? 211 to make the final?
208.
208. Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude, I just scraped in. Or it might have been 209 and 208 was the cut.
So you knew you were going.
So yeah, I was moving and I didn't connect with it. And then the next jump lined up really well, kicked it 230. And then when we drop in at the far end, they say you've got a fast time. And for all you wakeboarders out there and people who don't understand jumping, the boat has to go through the course in a certain amount of like seconds down to like the thousandth kind of thing. And I was just like a few thousandths too fast.
Which gives you
with the boat time.
Which they say gives you an advantage. So so your score gets thrown out.
Essentially, the boat was going faster than it was supposed to be.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the score is thrown out. It doesn't count.
And was that the one you threw the fist on? That 230?
Yeah. So maybe that's why.
Wait, you're not driving the boat though, so you don't get a rerun or something? Is that how that
So
works?
you get a rerun if you don't beat it. So you'll get an extra jump,
Gotcha,
but the
okay,
jump
okay.
you
jump
did
further than
Fair.
that,
does
then
not count.
Okay.
So there was a bit of confusion down the far end, but it was just like, well, screw it, just go. I know I might have one more jump, so we'll see what we do. And then I connected with the next one even better, and it was like 10 centimeters further, which I didn't know at the time. I just knew I connected with it. The driver gave me a thumbs up saying the time was good. And then next thing you know, I was in the crowd celebrating, going crazy. And then I was like, oh my God, I don't know if the jump was further or not. I might have had one more jump. Like, I'm an idiot. And then, yeah, it was like 20 minutes of hell just waiting to see
a
if
long
it's
time.
enough. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and,
with Ryan.
yeah, and Ryan,
you know,
he's pretty
Ryan
good at
Dodd,
going
right?
230. Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
And he's got the course record at like
Yeah.
like super high, like
245 wasn't it, or something just ridiculous?
247,
Like,
I think.
yeah.
It's big, like it's a
big jumps.
And
That was when
capable of
that was
it, like-
2017 when he won. He broke the world record like a few weeks later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah.
Dumb question. How do they measure it?
They have like 3 cameras that
AI.
like,
Triangulate
grid.
the position.
yeah.
Okay. So they're
there's,
not
3 cameras on shore, and then there's
Back
a
of ski hit
system
water?
that measures frame by frame where the skis hit,
Okay.
and then they triangulate that grid.
Gotcha.
It gives you a distance. Old school, like they had protractors where they'd 3 guys in a tower would line up, and they'd triangulate it.
Yeah, yeah,
manually,
yeah.
And now it's come to where you have the jump distance in
immediately.
15,
Pretty
20
close.
seconds.
Okay. Interesting. I was always curious on how
It's
they
very
measured that.
smart.
Yeah. Sounds very smart.
So I and Ted go like you sat there for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You were top seed in trick, finished third. You were
Mm-hmm.
last seed in jump,
Yeah.
won. Obviously, it paid off. But where like your ideal? Where do you want to be?
Well, I thought I wanted to be top seed, but that didn't work out in trick. So,
But yeah, I mean that doesn't necessarily. It's
Yeah.
because you were top seed. I just so like if you Joel could pick like this is where I want to go off, and it could be different per event.
I do enjoy being top seed. Like, it's always a nice place to be when you know what you have to do. But there is something freeing about being the first guy out, and you just have to set the score. You know, those middle guys, I don't like being in the middle when there's some kind of score set, but you don't know the actual score because that can put you in like a weird place. Like, you either want to go out knowing you've got to go all out, or oh shit, sorry about that. Or you want to go out kind of early and set the tone. But yeah, that middle guy, I don't love that. So like first out or last out, one or the other. What about you?
I sort of like being third to last, wherever
Oh,
that is.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I've won from there a fair bit, but like I'm opposite to you. I kind of like to know sort of where the score is, but then like the big guy, whoever that may be at the time,
Yeah.
if he's like after me, I quite like that. Like I won from like the Masters there in 2021. I won the Worlds there. You were top seed actually. Sorry. So like just a little bit from the end, see what's happening, see kind of where people are sitting. But you know, but then the best place is to be last and to kind of go and enjoy that moment. So that's nice as
Yeah,
well.
it's definitely cool. Like if you win while you're on the water, like what you did at Masters, like that's awesome. Like coming around the buoy and
You just know.
yeah, like on the way, like
I if I was like third to last seed there and I won, I probably wouldn't have cried as much. So
yeah.
that would have been cool.
How much do you think the lake level rose from the tears?
I was swallowing a lot too. Honestly, I was like
Replacing.
choking so much.
So when do you know you're gonna win? Because obviously going into that run, right, you know how much you need to do to win. When is the exact moment? Can you pinpoint that when you're like, all right, I see the buoy, I fucking got this?
Yeah, it was a weird one. I sort of, I mean, there's sometimes you get in like a weird flow, and I actually sounds ridiculous, and I hate to almost.
I think
admit,
it's cool. Like you told me,
I on the dock I knew I was going to win, which I'm not that person. I'm always a bag of nerves, always. Yeah. And I just on the dock I kind of like when I saw Nate going at 2, I'm like, well, I can beat that. I'm not saying I would, but like I was like, I can.
Yeah.
And I knew that Dane and Cole, who are great skiers, like they're left foot forward skiers, and I was kind of like, it's going to take a lot for them. I'm not saying they can't do it, but like to get over to 3 offside turn when it's rolling on that side, that's going to be difficult. So I was like, well, you know, I can do this. And then I kind of was like, I started getting like way ahead of myself. Like, whoa, I wonder if I'm going to cry when I win. Like, it's going to be such a great feeling. I'm like, Jesus Christ, stay in the moment, you know. And I've also had that before and not won and been like, what the hell? I remember at Master in like 2018, I thought the same. I was first off the dock, but no, like I was coming in at 41, you know, needing to get around 3. My onside's been dialed recently. I knew that I was going to turn 2 if I got over there, but I didn't need to get a gate and get out of 1. But I'm about to pull out for my gates, and I'm like, all right, this is the potential to be the greatest thing you ever do. You know, just because of the narrative, it's been a long road back from injury and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, and then I'm, you know, like, just go do it. And, you know, and I'm like, no, keys, you know, chest up, hands here, hip through, you know. And so, yeah, but then like that we were talking about just before, we were talking about that Tom Cruise meme that the known context Waterski guys, I mean, which I love because it was actually like that. Like I turned 2 and I'm like seeing 3 come towards me and I'm like, don't let go. Okay, I'm around it. You know, it was a weird
I think
feeling.
What you told Mario, the driver, before you started 41 is pretty cool too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, well, but so the driver, you know, it was actually, that was an interesting one too. Just, you know, the narrative, like the 2 guys that were in the boat. So Mario, the driver, great driver, and Candido, who's the judge, they were the guys that were in the boat when I broke my leg.
Really?
Yeah. So like the first round, I got in the water, did my first pass, and I'm listening to the commentators, and they're like, "Oh, and he's come back from injury," and you know, and I'm looking in the boat, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, like, you know, I remember sitting in the water with my legs snapped in half, and I look up, and they're sort of they're floating in the water in the boat, and they're looking at me, and I was like, kind of a flashback. So, but yeah, anyway, I was in the water getting ready, like before I come in at 41, I said, Mario, be ready. I'm turning 2 backwards. Be ready. And he looks at me, he's like, yeah, obviously I'll be there. You know, like I'm going to be there. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm turning it, you know, don't not think I'm going to S-turn or something. And so he's like, yeah, cool. And then he told me afterwards on the shore path, he was 0 at buoy 1. So shore path is like, that's where the boat is like in centimeters compared to where he should be. He was exactly 0 at buoy 2. And then 3, like, so it was all good. And
Dead nut center.
Like that's driving of the highest level. It's basically impossible to get 2 zeros in a row at 41 at the Masters. And so yeah, no, he was there, and it was cool.
So I gotta ask, does anybody hit you with the break a leg before you go out?
I've had that a couple of times.
The
Swiss Pro, which was my first tournament back in the US, there was some guy there, like super nice guy. You know, we had a chat, and he goes, oh, you know, go break a leg, and I'm like, and he goes, oh shit, no. So
break an arm.
Yeah.
Switch it up this time.
Yeah.
Is this your biggest win? Would you say like in your career?
It's my second biggest.
Second biggest.
Because I mean, it's, you know, everything's different, but like I still think that like my favorite win is Worlds in 2023, because it was, you know, just such a high level and all that sort of thing, and it felt so good to do that. And you know, we talked about last time, they tried to ban me from the sport for 2 years at that point, and you know, came back and won at their tournament. That was really fun. And but then this one was more emotional, and like I worked harder for this one, because I, you know, just like every single thing I've done from
physically,
from last June, but also mentally
too as well.
Everything I've done since last June 26th was to get my first win back, and so like for that to come actually at quite an early point was just like extraordinarily overwhelming. So I mean, I think when I get to it hasn't settled yet. Like it's, sure. So I think when I get to the end of my career, you know, in 15 years time, I'll be I'll look back on this one especially fondly.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely a top moment for sure.
Well, I think too, it wasn't a small score. Like, I mean, I think to people that really know water skiing, 2.5 at 41 is, and late, not like the craziest score you hear, but for that site at that, I mean, the course record is 4 at 41, and it was set a long time ago. Like
Yeah,
that,
under
the
a different
winning
rule
score. Yeah, the winning score at that tournament that's as high as it is. Like to get a piece of 3, to get outside 4 maybe, but normally it is a 3 at 41 to take that win. So it's not like, oh, it was a different field or scores were down. Like you had to run.
I had to go run a big score, and last year, like Cole, when he won last year, like I took my hat off to him, my God, because it felt so hard out there. I didn't ski very well, didn't make the final, but Cole ran 2 at 41 in the first round and then got around 6 in the second round, and so and I was really impressed. So it was cool to kind of emulate that and actually go a little further in the final there to kind of, so. In some ways, like I was very impressed with him last year, and then I was able to go and do the same thing, and that made me feel good. Yeah.
So how much did the fellas come away with after this weekend, money wise?
Billions
with a B.
I mean, Joel won more than any person that went to Masters. It's pretty cool.
Is that right?
True. I lost a bunch of it on the way back. Got a speeding ticket.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because you're out of that Ford Focus now. You got a proper car. You're speeding.
The Jeep is known for its speed.
Highway capability in the Jeep. Really though, what's the purse?
The purse is 18 grand per event. It used to be in men's slalom 21 grand, I think, and because of equality, it got pulled down. Which I would like it if in all this equality stuff we were bringing everything else up to meet the standard instead of pulling down.
Sure,
because that's happened a lot in men's slalom over the years. Like, where it used to be a certain thing and now it's coming out. But anyway, whatever. I mean, it's 18 grand for every event, every division. So it's good.
Yeah, definitely good.
So first is 10 or 8.
It's like 8-1, I think.
It gets split different in jump though because we pay all top 8.
Yeah, which I think is good. I mean, I that's what
There was only 7 there.
Where's that it first go?
Yeah. I think that's really good. I would actually be a fan of that. I mean, like it's so unfair to the guys like, who didn't make it. So Will Asher, Rob Hazelwood, Charlie Ross, and Thomas, of course. Yeah. So and they did all the work, all the preparation. They were in the very best skiers in the whole world, and they went away with negative money because of entry fees, $350, whatever, and hotel, travel, sort of stuff. So I would actually be a fan of paying further down.
Yeah, I think for the health of the sport in wakeboarding as well, I think it's.
I mean, you look at Dane, 2 qualifiers, and then a trip up there, and Matt. I mean, that's a lot to.
He made money though.
Yeah, he made money, but I still the cost of getting to that event.
100%. Yeah. I mean, but that's kind of like for me. It's hard making money as a water skier overall, and so to lose money really sucks. And so I was like, when I get through I'm like, well, I've made money because Dane and I paid the same amount to get there in terms of entry fees. So it was 200, and then 350. So that's $750 in just entry fees, and then your hotel. Like I say, at the cheapest, whatever. So that was only $300 for the 3 nights. But and Dane was splitting his with Gina and all that. But still, like he made a couple $100 at least.
But it's not a low barrier of entry to ski in an event.
No, it isn't.
To spend that much money in entry fees.
Well, and yeah, he's got a job, but he's spending so much effort in it, and really, so that for that work, and again for Rob and for Thomas and Will, like that's 2 months work at least. You could say it's a whole lifetime's work, but it's a number of months work, and you're going to make zero money or lose money, and it's tough. I mean, it's tough, and that's not a master's problem. That's just a problem in the sport.
Yeah, it's toad water sports, I'd say. But
yeah.
Do you guys follow the 10% rule? It's kind of sounding like you don't.
10% rule?
No, they don't.
I don't.
No.
Joel, do you know what the 10% rule is?
10% of the winnings on the bar.
Yes.
Oh.
The night of.
Oh, actually, sorry, I can speak to this. Joel made more money than me, but I bought Joel a drink. In fact, I bought him 2 drinks, and I did not get a. And actually, can I tell you?
Okay.
Do you not? Wait, no.
Forced a shot into my face and then went, "Here's some beer to help."
That's a nice thing. Sorry. So
here's a smelling salt.
Actually, I was absolutely shocked by that. By the way, so you got to be careful about drinking out there, because do you know how much that all was? 2 Dos Equis and then 2 shots of tequila. $47.
This is not like the Masters in Georgia that I know.
Yeah,
the other Masters
exactly, which I've heard is you get
like
sandwiches for like
$4
$4. Yeah, exactly. So no, that was I reflect on that. I'm like, I mean, I know I made some money, but God, if I'd really drunk, I might have left with significantly less money. Yeah, but that's why we sneak beer in our jacket pockets.
I will tell you, Massey, very good at the 10% rule. He didn't win this year, but last year when he won, just straight to the bar, 2 boxes of beers, 4 bottles of wine, brought it out to the field, and had a good time. So
There you go. I think if Trent would have won this year, he might need some educating on the 10% rule a little bit. He's still working on that one. But we're getting there.
But I mean,
I don't think Rappa probably does the 10%ers either.
You know what? Yeah, I couldn't say. Who won this year?
Rappa.
Rappa won.
Yeah.
I would have to tap in on that one, but I don't think.
but cable prices are not huge, right?
It depends. Most of them, no. I mean, Langenfeld Open, the one that just happened, I think winner gets like $3,000 or something. So 10% is nothing.
Isn't that one of the biggest ones?
Yeah, not purse wise, but like prestige wise, I guess you could say. Yeah.
So
event
Trent won
wise.
there.
Are you allowed to say prestige on another event?
Just did.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah.
That was brave.
It's across the pond, so we're good.
Okay.
You were there.
Yeah.
Did Trent 10% that?
He was partying. I don't know if I don't think he was buying drinks though.
There you go.
But we need to work on that a little
It
bit.
is tough balance because people are, if you win, they're going to bring you drinks too to
True.
celebrate with you.
That's true.
So
No one bought me a drink.
poor Freddie.
No one bought me a drink.
No one bought you any drinks.
Nope.
That's tough.
I think I was handed a couple. I was
You win.
handed a couple of like weird beers after, like I say weird, like Coors Light, which I
So weird.
weird.
Is this afterwards outside?
Yeah.
Those were my beers.
Oh, they were your beers.
Oh, there you go.
You're welcome.
There you go.
Why did you buy those beers, dude? That's terrible.
Well, I mean, you need something to shotgun, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I gotta ask this. So
Freddie's trying to roll for shotgun over there.
So apparently, this is a MasterCraft podcast. I was unaware until recently, but it is apparently. Some are asking, not me, some, does MasterCraft own the Masters? Megan Ethel, 9 times winner. Joel Pollan, winner. Freddie Winter, winner.
Freddie Krueger, 14?
13.
13?
13?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some are asking. That's all I'm saying.
Sounds like it.
I mean, MastersCraft, right?
True.
We had a good year. Tyler came second this year.
Mhm.
That was cool.
Yeah, time.
Yep. I mean, MasterCraft has its fingers in many pies. That's all I'll say.
That seemed.
Ominous.
Yeah, I feel like you need to extrapolate on that.
No.
Plays the fifth.
No, I don't know. I think I really do think that the Masters is very synonymous with another boat brand. So as much as MasterCraft did work very well this year, I think we can thank Nautique for putting on a great tournament.
Absolutely. It's a great one. Big purse, too.
Did they have anyone in the finals?
Nautique.
Yeah, not in wakeboard.
Not in wakeboarding.
In ski?
Well, Erica, Anna,
Oh, yeah. The trick girls.
Joel's
yeah.
like, trick doesn't count.
Neely. You forgot about women
Yeah,
folk.
yeah, and
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
and Dodd, kind of a big deal at
Oh,
Nautique.
yeah. Okay. My bad. There's a couple.
Yeah.
Couple
Wasn't so good for the
tree there.
slalom field, though, huh?
Or the wakeboard field.
No?
Men's or women's. So I want to know, who's the most likely to get hurt celebrating in tournament water skiing? Because I feel like it's Joel Pollan. I feel like I've seen a lot of sellies when you find out you
He
won.
was celebrating before he landed. He's gonna. I mean, that hand was up. It was a Jimmy Seamer's fist pump, 10 feet from landing.
I was just happy I kicked one. I was coming into that event shaking as hell.
Pretty badass though. I mean,
No,
like,
it's the coolest.
It's
It's
super
the coolest look for sure.
It feels good. It's like Superman.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
sometimes Joel has been known to do that, like at Worlds, and then it turns out it was like a 215.
Did I do that at Worlds?
Yeah.
That's a tough look.
Tough, yeah. Worlds didn't go great for me.
I like
one round.
Freddie Krueger, like when he lands, he like throws the fist and he like does these little jumpy things.
Yeah, the jumpies
That's cool.
are good.
I get
You-
stuck
you,
down there.
You
though.
know he did a big jump then. I mean, that's
Yeah,
cool.
You
to
didn't even
see.
see the number. He's
Yeah.
Well, have you seen his son as well? Like anytime Dash or Ridge kick a jump, they do the same thing. They're coming down the lake, bouncing like
Yeah,
just
it's
mini
great.
little Freddies.
Sick.
I actually have gotten hurt celebrating though. So.
really?
You do.
Yeah, I did like a big wake jump and just crashed. Ski came off, went in my life jacket. The fin like took a chunk out of my back.
Oh,
I was like Mulberry. I was like 12, and it was
jeez.
yeah, it was not great. So I stopped.
So you've
playing
got the
after
crown
that.
on that one.
Well, it
so
sounds
far.
like it so far.
Is that why you're not a pro skier anymore? Is that because you're scared of like
I'm
having
scared-
to celebrate?
Scared of winning. You
I'm
don't know
scared
what
of
you're going to do to
winning, yeah.
yourself.
If you win, you're gonna hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know that I won. I just was happy with how I skied.
And that's the most important thing, Brooks.
Yeah,
Just to be happy.
just to be.
Let's go ski. Have fun. I'll touch on wakeboarding real quick. Megan landed a Pete 5, which for wakeboarding is a huge accomplishment. She won for the 9th time, which is insane.
I mean, she was head and shoulders.
not even
it was-
close. I
yeah,
mean,
it was-
Zara had like 3 straighters. Obviously, the wake was not kicking for her on those runs, but like she would have been the next one up.
But like,
to-
yeah, I mean, yeah, Zara obviously rides incredibly. But Megan
Yeah.
stood like in that finals. It
was
cool
such
to
a
watch her
dominant.
dominance. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Grabbing like every trick and just looking solid as ever. So
Was that like when, like a number of years ago, when Hardy just absolutely crushed it? Like in
this is even? I mean, I would say this is even more like dominant.
no
The
way.
gap,
Yeah.
It's-
Which is
Didn't he get like 100 or something?
yeah, but that should never happen.
that was that's bad.
Oh,
Especially
Oh,
when
wow,
there's a rider
walking
left to
into-
come.
Yeah, that's
walking
was-
into
that
some
was poor.
controversy. Whoops.
Yeah.
should be impossible. Yeah, in the subjective judging, but happened to Sean White too. So I guess he's a great as well. Trent made the finals, which for wakeboarding, he's a cable
was
rider,
close.
and it was
Yeah, but
he rode
isn't that
well.
super like? I was sort of tuned out of that whole narrative, but I was sort of interested in seeing it from the outside. Like, isn't that so cool that he just came and he just won the other tournament abroad
Weekend before. Yeah.
4 in a row? Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
mad.
it's madness, and I think it's just really great for the sport of wakeboarding as a whole to just have that crossover happen because he is the best cable rider, head and shoulders above everybody else, and then you see him go on the boat side of things. And
how long has he been doing that?
I have to ask him. I think the last year-ish he started taking it
He's only
pretty.
been
I mean, it's like his
But,
third
yeah.
contest. He did
I mean, he's-
Double or Nothing, did Worlds last year.
and he did one like small grassroots contest
the-
up in
the-
Carolina or something,
yeah.
Georgia maybe,
But he had, I mean, to
or
have
Louisiana.
be a year into competing in a boat and make the finals
It's outrageous.
to beat and not it was not a gimme. It's not like, oh, everybody else rode kind of bad and
No,
he squeaked
everybody
through.
put
Like,
down.
I mean, it was the
And he
judges
podiumed.
talked for
Mhm.
Yeah.
got third. Yeah.
And it's harder going cable to boat, right?
Yeah, I would say so for sure. I think he's had just so much time on the water and holding onto a handle that
Yeah.
when you watch him ride behind the boat, it's like he can ride away from things that other people that
His
just
line
grab on the
tension.
boat.
I mean,
he understands it more
Yeah.
than anybody else.
And I think he gets like so he had 2 stand-up passes in the finals, and any other rider would have fallen twice. I'd
Yeah,
say
100%.
Like he
Really?
Yeah, but he's just that he's a cat. Like he lands and keeps moving
And that's that's because he is very agile. Like that's kind of a natural talent of his, and that's why he's on cable as well. Or because he's ridden cable so much, he was able to ride those away.
I mean, I think it's just water time. I mean, he's very athletic. He's very dynamic. I think in cable, you land because there's no transition in cable. Like you land hard a lot of the time, where in boat you don't land that hard. And so I think he's used to having like awkward stuff where you
You got to
still
know
have to
where you're
stand
at
up.
that much
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
It's like you riding a trick ski, and people think they can then ride a trick ski, but they
Yeah.
can't.
You just know where you're at.
You do look pretty good on a damn trick ski. It's annoying. God, I know how hard that is. It's like so natural.
I'm curious, now that we're talking about people, time on water, who do we think's had the most time on water in towed water sports?
Joel
as a whole?
Bowden. I mean, for someone at, how old are you?
Yeah, he's too. I mean,
Yeah,
he's
for
too
my
young
age,
to have
I'm
the
probably
most, though.
pretty close. Like for compared to where
For,
I'm at.
for your age, you are by far. I mean, I don't know. I just remember when you were growing up. I mean, like it was, turn up. I mean, so I was driving. I mean, how old are you said?
26 now.
Yeah, so you're 9 years younger than me. I was driving the boat at Thorpe in England, and on an afternoon he would come in from school. He would do like 4 sets in about 3 hours or less, and then go on the cable for an hour, just dicking around and I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of. Obviously, you have all the talent and all that, but I mean, just you hone that through just being on the water a lot, and that's why you have you see the kids trying to copy what you do and do those little spins and stuff, and I mean. It's great they're trying to do it. They look terrible, and then they go back to you, and it's like, well, yeah, that's how someone should look on a trick ski.
But I also think there's like top professional trick skiers that try to do that stuff and don't
Yeah.
look very good.
No, but
Like-
but that's it.
But I think that's the issue with some of the top trick
Yeah,
skiers. They never went outside of a trick run.
I mean, we talk
Like,
about
they
it a
never played
lot.
on a
Like,
cable or
that nobody
yeah.
like playing around on the water just gets you so comfortable, gets you so dynamic. Like
and when you submit new tricks, they get ample points, and it's all correct in the rule book and
Let's
stuff.
not
so
get too fired up on that one.
But but back to water
Joel's
time,
gonna start beating his hand on the table.
or smelling something.
Give this man another salt.
I do. I mean, I think it's pretty incredible. Like your average week, how many sets do you take?
Yeah, good question.
like 15 to
Go to
18.
your toes too if you need to go higher.
Yeah, like 15 to 18.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's
I
a
mean,
lot of
it's
sets.
Absurd.
And how many do you take?
Well, I'm actually doing less now.
Well, I know, but yeah,
but when I was your
coming
age,
into the Masters, like I think it's very interesting.
yeah.
Like,
So when
two
I was
people that
when I
won
was
and-
your age, I was doing 8 to 10. And then
Which that's a lot for slalom. Like
yeah,
I get to break it up with like different events beat you up in a different way, but when you're slaloming 8 to 10 times a day, that's repetitive.
a week.
That'd be a lot.
Just
Oh, sorry, yeah, I was gonna say a week.
no,
yeah.
those are those old big dog skiers with the steroids. That's not me. No, I mean, I remember it was the Swiss Pro Tricks like 3 weeks ago probably about a month ago or more. But and then I went out to Freddie Krueger's place on like the Tuesday, and so I had skied on the Saturday, and I'm taking Sunday off because I was doing interviews and stuff for the trick tournament. Obviously, Joel had skied 3 times on the Saturday, and come second, and then he'd been out at Freddie's on the Monday and done like 4 sets. He did 4 sets on the Tuesday, and I'm just like
5.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, and me, I had taken. I think I even took Monday off as well. And I'm still like sore and stuff. I mean, like it's hanging on me a little bit more since I come back. So I think I've worked a lot in the gym and stuff, but so I'm just a bit more sort of beat up overall. But like, I was just blown away. And then at the end of the day, hey, can I just do a trick set?
Yeah, just go play around with that bridge and
unreal.
Well,
I was impressed.
I had a tournament that weekend and I missed 39 and jumped 200 foot. So
but that
wasn't the best training plan.
But you're the best in the world overall, and in jump and trick, there's a very good argument to say that you're the absolute very best in those events. But like, I mean, that's got to be such a hard part of it to find a way to do all of them and to keep your level at all of them and to improve as you still are, while keeping the body fresh enough.
But it's different as you get older. Like I think as you kind of get older, you have more experience and then you can back off a little bit. Yeah. So like this year I've been doing a lot, but it's like I'm right at the edge of it. Like I don't know if I'll be able to keep doing as much over the next handful of years.
Dude.
Like it beats you up.
Well, yeah, and like for me, as a very boring one-dimensional athlete, like I can go I do like when when I start skiing really good, I ski less because I'm like, okay, just keep the flow going. But you might have, you're tricking really good, so you do a little bit less tricks, but then jump's not going so well, so you're like more and over here, and then like where does my slalom end up? And so you're not getting the benefit of that easing off because I'm easing off so that I can keep fresh and keep that good stuff going, and it tends to help you up the hill. But the sort of 3D chess you're doing, I don't know how you do that.
It's becoming harder,
and no one's really done that before. No one's been a guy that we've had like Jarrett Llewellyn could win in jump every week.
Yep,
probably was. Maybe was he a podium guy in tricks, but not like
he won trick events. But he was like the stand-up guy. Like you could always count on him to stand up his run. He wasn't number 1 guy.
But he wasn't. But he was nowhere in slalom, right?
But like slalom would be his weakness. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're actually, I mean, you were top seed at the World Championships in slalom.
I mean, last Masters did compete in all like this year didn't make it in slalom, but last year you competed at the Masters in all 3 events. And back in the day, you could do that because they had overall, but now you had to qualify through your own merit in every single one of those events. Like,
no, it's I don't know. I mean, I really hate you, Joel, but it's obscene what you do.
Well, thank you very much.
Oh man! All right, I think you guys talked about Swiss Pro a little bit, and I was reading some return to baseline articles, trying to brush up on my
love return to baseline. Great shout out!
What a huge shout out because good quality writing is extremely hard to find these days,
and it is good, and it's anonymous.
Is it okay? So I don't know the whole lore behind this, but there's like an author name, but it doesn't. It's not like a real guy's
Jack
name,
Burton's
right?
It's a nom de plume,
and so we don't know. You guys don't know who it is.
No.
So I thought it was this guy Jack Burton, right? We were actually talking about it.
You and I were, yeah.
Oh, was it? Okay, so and so I actually like sent him an Instagram message. I'm like, is this your real name? No, I'm keeping myself anonymous because I don't want to like have conflicts or whatever. And I'm like, oh, it's actually kind of cooler.
It's way cooler. Yeah, I think it's awesome.
And it's legit good writing, which, like you say, very hard to find. And
that's why I can't figure out who it is because I don't know anybody that actually writes that.
No, exactly,
well.
exactly. And the way that it's also like, the people sitting here, like it probably fits like kind of where
it's
we
very
come
relevant.
From. It's relevant, but it's also quite right thinking. I feel like it's not pandering to anyone. It's critical enough to where
it's very neutral.
It's real but not biased. Yeah. Is kind of how.
Yeah, and it's analytical.
Yeah,
because you have like there's Instagram profiles or whatever that are doing some stuff, and it's like this happened and this happened, but there's someone sitting at home thinking about these things,
regurgitating information. It's coming up with original thought.
Yeah. And when stuff needs to be talked about that's lame, like often they're the ones to say it, which I think is great.
Yeah, and so I read the article on Swiss Pro, and I read the Masters recap kind of that they did, and the Swiss Pro one really was interesting to me because they were talking about live streams and kind of the place of growing the sport, which like Swiss Pro, they put a lot of money, time, effort into the live stream, get a lot of viewers, but the prize purse wasn't enough to be on the Pro Tour this year, if I'm correct.
For tricks, it was. For slalom, it wasn't.
Okay, but overall, it wasn't on the Waterski Pro Tour this year.
It wasn't, and
for that reason,
they had it. Yeah, so that there is basically the way that the Waterski Pro Tour works and how the elite system, which is the precursor to it, works is that you can come in at a pretty low level in terms of prize purse the first year, and you have to increase for the second year. And I think it's 5,000 per division, so 5,000 men, 5,000 women, and then it's 7.5 the next, and then 10 the next, and then 12. So there's steps up the ladder. Once you reach 12, you have to stay there.
That's your floor.
You can't come down again. And I'm friends with those guys at Swiss, and I mean they weren't, the sponsors weren't coming in that they were hoping for or whatever. And like I think I don't want to speak for them, but maybe they had a choice of saying we can have a trick event and a slalom event, or we can just have a slalom event and it's in the tour. And I think frankly, I'm happy the trick event happened.
Yeah,
that's better for the sport overall, that there's going to be a trick event, that we can have these guys be supported, that we can put that event out in such amazing quality and give these guys like the opportunity that they deserve. So yeah, I mean it's a bummer that they you can't have everyone taking a bath putting on a tournament. So I think it was a shame, but also good for them. They put on 2 tournaments and it was great, and we love the Swiss Pro. It's a phenomenal event.
Does it get a lot more viewers than a lot of the other tournaments? Is that like live stream viewers? You guys know that?
It
seems like that was.
It's probably the best live stream of the season, no?
It is, because so
at their site.
It's the Vince who runs CWBC, like that's his family's event. It's his family's lake. So they put on the event. The webcast, like they really make sure it's good, and also it's early in the season. People are pumped about it.
Masters.
Yeah. So it's the first of the American season. So people love it. And I mean, and also not to mention, it's probably the best lake in the world. They have the best drivers. Everything's dialed. Got good boats. Everything. So people tune in to see big scores, and there's always big scores.
Yeah. This is so many parallels to Langenfeld Open to me, because the purse at Langenfeld Open isn't the biggest, but the live stream, the setup, the people that run it are all well respected and in high regard. So it's just very interesting.
Passion-driven event, and I think it shows
the riders and skiers understand that.
And lucky for most people, it is local. I mean, it's
Florida.
Easy to say that because it's Orlando, and it does suck for some people that do have to travel in. But for most of the people, the expense, the overhead to get there isn't anything. So they're more willing to show up and ski for an event with less money because they didn't have hotel nights and travel.
And for that reason, and also it's like it starts your season. It's like, all right, where am I? I've done Moomba, and most people don't do Moomba. Like there's been less and less people turning up to that. So this is the first tournament where we're going to see everybody there, and it's like, okay, how are we starting?
How do you stack up against the field?
Yeah,
you get a baseline for where people are at. It's good to have a lower stakes tournament being at home to kind of get in that competitive feel on that.
And like I say, it's like for a skier turning up, it feels like everything's dialed, and you just feel good turning up there and skiing.
Yeah. They brought up an interesting point, which was the audience growth that I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit more of. Like live streams that are high quality, that get mass numbers in, is a very important piece of the puzzle, as well as having tournaments with high enough prize money to kind of sustain the skiers. But these are 2 different avenues that I think both need to happen, right? Because
one feeds the other, right?
Yeah, one feeds the other, right? You need the larger audience to get into water skiing and wakeboarding and to pay attention. So, yeah, it was very interesting. That I didn't know that Waterski Pro Tour had a floor for like that whole bracket you kind of laid out was really interesting.
There's intro events and then level events.
Yeah, which is cool that it's lower for the intro events though, because it's hard to get.
Well,
year one is so.
So if you want to put year one on, you're not going to have a big prize purse when you're just starting to do an event.
It's impossible. You got to prove the theory, right? So.
No, I mean, with Swiss, like, yeah, I mean, it's a great way to start, but like the way to grow the sport, like, is get those numbers up huge. And like the thing, if we're looking at like what's the best thing for 15 years time is, sorry to say, to me and Joel, but like the most important thing is not that we get paid as much as we need to entice people to want to come in. But if we're looking at the health of the sport in 15 years time, it's like get a really high quality product. And that's, TWBC, what they're doing is, every guest you're going to have from Waterskiing is going to say the same thing. I mean, like they do an incredible job, and they're actually, the most important people in the sport, I think.
Yeah, and Return to Baseline was saying the same thing that you were saying. It seems like everybody that's in skiing is in on TWBC. Like they're all in on it.
You'd be mad not to. I mean, there's a couple of people who don't like him, and it's just like, what are you doing? Like the only reason you don't like these guys is because you have your own agenda, and and that agenda is not for the future of water skiing.
Yeah, screw those guys. All right, let's dive into the LF'n Wheel of Questions presented by Liquid Force. I think it's a good time to do that. So, Freddie, if you go ahead and grab that down.
The LF'n Wheel of Questions.
Okay, let's
We'll go ahead and spin it once, and then whatever it lands on.
Am I pulling it?
Yeah, you can pull it down. It should just come down pretty easy. So Liquid Force likes to make wakeboarding fun. This is not really a wakeboarding podcast at this point, but we're going to make this podcast a little bit more fun by spinning
Liquid
the
Force
LF'n
are going to start
with
making
questions.
skis. You heard it here first.
They made kite gear for a little bit, so maybe they'll dive into skiing. It'd be pretty crazy. Also, Brostock is back, so details are in the link below, but we hope to see everybody at Brostock this year. So go ahead and give that a spin, Freddie, and see what we land on. What do we got?
Dark horse.
If you can,
Dark Horse 2025.
ooh, I like this one for water skiing. So season's kind of getting started, but there's a lot of events left. So you could go trick, you could go jump, you could go slalom, whatever you guys want. But kind of some names that the layman's wouldn't know.
Huh. I don't know.
I'm interested to see what Charlie Ross does this year.
Yeah, but he's not a dark horse. I mean, he won Moomba. He's run 41. I mean, like, because
But
that
he's
was
still young enough, I would say. Like, he hasn't really proved
Not as
himself
established.
to establish. Like, I guess, he won Moomba. What will he do through the rest of the season?
Like he's won Moomba, he's run 41, he's doing the scores. Will the results come to, Because it's one thing to do the scores and, you win a tournament, but there's another thing to, line up a season, right? And I'm interested to see, he came out and skied, out with us one day, and he was there for 2-3 days in a row, and he was skiing insanely good. But then, these last 2 pro tournaments have not gone quite as well as he probably wanted. So to see what he does with these next group of tournament, I don't know if he's going to Europe or what he's going to be doing, but
he said he'll be there. He'll be there for a few of them.
okay. So it'd be good to see what he does on the pro tour, because he's clearly got the scores. He's a great skier, but I'd love to see what he does in a pro tour setting.
Because there's a thing, right? Like, you've got people who are spiky that they'll turn up once a year and just light it up and get a big result. And then there's people that are consistent, and there's people that are kind of consistently kind of in the thirds or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's people that kind of but then the hardest thing, someone of Charlie's level of talent, he doesn't want to be a guy that wins 2 tournaments a year and then kind of doesn't really get on the podium apart from that. He wants to win everything. Or
He wants to be on the podium every time.
and he wants to be a threat every single time.
Yeah.
And so, and that's actually, I can speak on that for myself. That's quite hard to do. It's
Absolutely.
really hard to between boats, between lakes, the drivers, whatever, and just turn up and kind of go, you know what, I'm going to be there, and to do it. And one of the, not to make it about myself, but one of the things that I'm most proud of in my career is in 2023, every podium, I did 14 tournaments, I think, or 13 tournaments, and
Which is especially hard in slalom.
yeah,
Because of the depth and the consistency of the scores. There's not really many gimmies. A main guy might mess up, and there's 2-3 more main guys, and then there's another group right below that are right there that are fighting to try make that podium.
I think with that, last year we saw more new pro winners than we've seen in a decade.
Yeah.
And it'll be really interesting of how many now one-time pro event winners there are. How many will claim a second title?
Yeah.
You look at, you've got Coles, you've got Robs, you've got Charlie now, you've got people.
Brando, Corey.
Corey, all those guys that won an
Lucas.
event last year. Lucas Cornell, yeah.
We're going to see a lot of him. He's a good dark horse.
Yeah.
Depending
He's a
on how
really
much,
good dark horse,
depending on how much. But again, he's won tournaments and he's
Yeah.
been really good and he looks great. But he's a good dark horse because, one, will he turn up? I mean, he started university over there, and so it's really hard for him in Australia. He's an Australian kid.
Okay.
He's him and Charlie. They're one's pulling ahead and the other's coming back, and Charlie's
And they ski very different, which I think is
exactly.
good.
Charlie super smooth, and Lucas is more kind of
gritty.
yeah.
So I think it's a, like you said, all those names they're not necessarily dark horses because they've been around a long time. But when you look at people that have won, until last year there wasn't that many of them. So who will be that person that really does come up and?
How old is this
shines
Charlie
with it?
Cat? How old is he?
20, 19
19.
or 20?
I think he's,
young.
I
He's
don't
19.
know.
Yeah, he was 19.
Him and Lucas
young.
won on his 19th birthday. I think they're the same age. Yeah.
Wow, young.
So First Blood has gone to Charlie. Charlie, who hadn't won a tournament, turns up in Australia in Lucas's backyard and wins down there. Lucas came third. So Lucas will be training his nuts off, working as hard as he can, presumably down there. And then where are we going to see him? He'll be at Worlds, I imagine. But if we don't see him in Europe up until that point, he might just be a kind of turn up at Worlds and he could get a huge result there.
Yeah.
And that would be pretty dark horse, right? Turn up at Worlds having not skied an event in a year.
Yeah.
And rip it up.
Yeah, that would be definition of dark horse for sure. All right, we got an LF'n wild card from the crew at Liquid Force, and they're wondering. We went through some pre-contest routines at LAO with the wakeboarders, so I'm curious your guys' pre-tournament routine. Anything you guys do day before, day of, right before, music, take a big shit, anything?
Yeah,
Before jump, lose a couple pounds. You want to be as light as possible.
That makes sense.
You know.
I like how you're scheduling it.
Pre-jumped out?
Yeah. Normally,
Me, I'm just often so nervous. I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Really?
yeah. Like before the Masters, it was just 100 times. Yeah, I don't know.
You guys headphone guys? You got headphones on the dock right before or what?
No,
No music?
I will just more so to be like in the moment if it's like loud.
Okay.
But like not a super ritual. I do have like a full jump ritual of like how I get ready, and then the night before I'll eat steak.
Okay, I was gonna ask the meal.
Yeah, the night before it's always steak, but it's steak most nights. I'm a big steak guy. But then yeah, like before you jump, like you got to get a little voodoo and kind of like space out and find your own little world for a second.
Yeah.
Because like you're trying to turn off fear, and in order to do that, you almost have to like zone out of like reality. So having like a built-in ritual, it just like helps you lock into being zoned out.
I think you say that fear, like, it's interesting to hear you say that because you don't look like a guy that has that fear.
I'm terrified.
I would agree with
Which
that.
I think is, it's cool to know that because, like, I look at you on the dock and you're like, you're smiling and you look calm and you look fun. But I think that's such an interesting thing to be like.
But no, then fear is switched off. Like if you watch round one, if you go back, watch the webcast, like you'll see on the dock, like there is still fear in me and I didn't jump well. Like I was afraid to get hurt and I just couldn't get to a place on my skis to be comfortable to really kick a ramp and I'm slipping. Yeah. And then coming into final was a bit more of a like, you got nothing to lose. You've already tricked. If you crash, you crash. Like, and you have to accept that before you go out and try jump big because if you're worried that you're going to crash and you're trying to stop it, like you're not going to be over your skis. You're not going to kick it.
Yeah, that seems like an event. It's a
black
and white
like,
situation.
Yeah, you got to be like tinkering on the edge to do it. And honestly, it's safer to do that too because if you are a little bit on your heels and you're like in a bit of a safe place, but then you try and make something happen at the ramp, that's where it goes wrong.
Yeah.
Like you got to set yourself up so when you come into the ramp, you're in the right place that you can just jump versus have to like, if you're back, you got to lunge into the ramp, which is exactly how you go out the front. Or, you know, you buckle a little bit and go out the back.
Yeah.
So all 3 times you've won, you've jumped north. Is that right or no?
No. I think we went the other way last year.
Is that with or against the Earth's rotation?
It's normally
a couple extra feet. I
no wind, but
if you're into that sort of thing.
But it's rollier jumping. Or
I love
it's rollier
that you
into
said
the base.
It's interesting because at Masters the rollers come like one specific direction. So the way we jumped this year, I don't know which way that is, north, south, north. So when you jump north, the rollers are coming with you, which I hate because they're longer. So you're like bouncing with them. Whereas when you go the other way, you almost go into them. So it's a bit more like a skip. And it can kind of bring you over your toes coming into them. Whereas if you're going with them, it can like push you to your heels.
Interesting.
Because your skis speed up like ahead of you as they go up and down the rollers. So you definitely have to like factor that in a little bit. But mostly it just comes down to shut the brain off.
I think these smelling salts could be a big mental unlock for you.
No, you gotta be calm.
Get sponsored.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of this.
Can I put you on the spot? And
Go on.
I remember a number of years. Well, so first off, like I've known you for many years, and I remember in like I don't know, you'd have been 12, like probably 15, I don't know, and like we were watching at Hazelwood's, and Rob, who was your competitor at the time, who was a really good jumper, went out ahead of you at nationals, and he went really big, and Nathan and I think, you know, whoever it was, turned to each other and we were like, Joel might crash here. And first jump straight out the front.
Yeah.
So, and I remember like more recently, two or 3 years ago, you were at Stillwaters in like up north somewhere. And there was an interview with you I saw somewhere where you were like, you know, you jumped 225 or something in the first round. You're like, I'm going to go so big second round, or even in the final, I forget. You crashed
straight out
front. Like straight out front really badly. So where's that edge? Like you know you have to turn off fear. You have to, much more than what I think a slalom skier has to do, get adrenaline going to kind of go, I am going to be superhuman. I'm going to fly through the air. I'm going to kick this jump. But like how near do you feel that edge is? And do you find that you get better at that as you get older?
I'm definitely getting better with it now of like being like, you have to be calm. Like, you can't be too amped up, and you can't be like, if you get too amped up, you're on the edge of fear because you're trying to convince yourself you're not scared. There's like a fine line of like, I feel really calm, and you're almost accepting if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. And you're like prepared for that without like screaming in the face of danger kind of thing. So yeah, it's like almost like a meditative state of just a little phased out and not really thinking a whole lot and just being like kind of super calm. Like I feel the calmest right before I put my skis on. That's where I feel like freakishly calm. And then, yeah, if you don't feel like that, then it's like, oh shit. Yeah. Because it's hard to do that once you put your skis on. Your heart rate elevates like every jump. Like my friend Luca, he's got a watch, like a Garmin, and he can measure his heart rate between every jump. And like every jump, it goes up 10. Or no, it will go up like 20 or 30, and it will come back down and be 10 higher than the last. You're not bringing it back down to it doesn't ever get back down to the same. It always goes just like 10 higher, 10 higher, 10 higher.
So like on jump 3, he's...
So yeah, if you went out at like 120, by the time you're done, you're at like 150, 160.
But he's a good dark horse too. Shout out Luca.
Yeah, he's really good. I could see him. Like, he just needs to get a tournament right. Like,
but that's what I was going to say is taking nothing away from Luca, but I would theorize that Freddie and Ryan and you, when you're on, you're not going 10 higher. You're coming back down to the same level, because that comes from, one, it comes from tournament experience, and two, I mean, you know, just, and you know, fitness. I'm not saying Luca must be a very fit guy, but like, I think tournament experience, you know, you can just recenter. I mean, I remember Salem is a different thing, but when I started out, like, I was just like, when I first was in these tournaments, like, I was exploding, you know, and now I'm not the best, but I'm pretty good, I think, at bringing my heart rate down.
Yeah.
And when you, like, start of the year, I do some chest straps up. I've done it like over the years, just like once every, you know, and like start of the year, it's like it's ramping up, and then you do the same set, the exact same set a few months later, and you just kind of, you're just in it more.
You're a little more calm. I do think a big piece of it though is adrenaline. Like, it's not so much the physical side. Like, you get the physical side where it's your heart rate's going up because you're working hard, cutting hard and everything. But I do think, like, especially once you've done that first jump or you really connect to one, like, adrenaline's it goes up to 10. And that part, it's hard to like keep your heart rate low. Like, so yeah, you'll deal better with that. You will, I'm sure, deal better with that adrenaline in your third Masters win than your first, because you've just done, you know, 25 more tournaments in that time. I think this is where it comes back though to before you leave the dock being calm.
Yeah.
Like, it's because round 1, I bet you my heart rate was like 20 or 30 higher.
Yeah.
Especially coming into jump 3, because I hadn't really connected with one properly. Whereas like coming into Masters and round 2, I felt like eerie calm on the dock, and then my heart rate was like all the way to max after jump 2 with a 230 and everything. And then, yeah, you're right. Like, I was able to bring it back down fairly quickly. Whereas, you know, me 3-4 years ago, maybe not so well, but like it's tapping into calm before you go.
But that's where
you don't
Freddie,
tap into that to start, you don't find it.
But sorry, I was going to say that's where Freddie at 50, like he could well be, I don't know, but he probably isn't as strong as some of the younger guys. But he's got
he's got old man strength, man.
No,
seriously,
no. But his ability to reset, having jumped, you know, in every single condition since, you know, 1995, it must be incredible.
His mindset is really good as well. Like, I've picked his brain quite a lot, and so many occasions you see like 2 jumps he's messed up. He has 1 jump to do it, and he does it, and he doesn't ever play it safe. He's just like, go jump. Go do what you're trying to do. Don't question anything. Like, trust yourself.
He's so methodical.
He always says, focus on the inputs and the outputs come.
Exactly. He's not worried about what he's trying to get or how far he has to go. It's like, just jump, like, and focus on the right thing. And his mindset is definitely like calm and very analytical. I mean, you guys have spoke to Freddie. He's very analytical. Like, he really breaks things down, which I think is a very big jumper thing. Like, if you look at Ryan, very analytical. Same thing with Luca, like, we're all very analytical when it comes to that side. Like, you have to be logical. You can't let emotion do too much.
Well, it's the only way to be consistent in that game where you're turning and cutting at something that looks big, but it's not that big.
Yeah, the window's small.
When you're
It's a
hitting it
very
side
small
on,
window,
it's
yeah.
very small.
Yeah,
I think the slalom is more emotional.
No, and I think that's that's the way you guys, that's the reason you guys are at the level you're at, is because you approach it from an analytical, not just like a turn and go and
Winging
like
it.
I'll probably get on.
Well, yeah, those guys don't last very long. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of those guys that have come around. You see it a lot in the juniors, like, Tristan last year,
Yeah.
that jump
that was-
crash, like, not super analytical, very balls to the wall.
But
all
hard to
out.
be that analytical at that age.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
But
But
like
then Tim.
Tim
But I
Bradstreet,
think- yeah.
Tim Bradstreet, who like he didn't do a jump after the age of 21, right? Like, or not to a serious level, but at that point he'd won Moomba at least once. He'd come second at Worlds on a 5'6" ramp. Like he had a hell of a career, but just super curtailed.
Well, you have to be like that as a junior because of the slower boat. So you have to be strong, cut hard, and like balls to the wall. But there is a balance of that. Like that kid coming through, Tim Wild, super German, very analytical. Like he really breaks things down, sometimes too much, and you have to be like, dude, stop thinking and just go do it. But like,
Well, that'll stand him in good stead.
But what an incredible story for Tim, though. Like sorry,
unreal.
we hadn't talked about it, but I don't know if you saw Junior Masters. Tim Wild, he won slalom, tricks, jump, and overall.
you want everything.
Jeez.
No one's ever done
I was
that.
really
Full suite,
surprised
like-
to see him win overall after all of that. It was
Out of nowhere, huh?
And he's the one that won the trick ski for the Grab Matter Skidaway.
Oh, there you go.
True
That's
that.
probably why I did.
Yeah,
That's
probably why.
That was a
It's
secret.
definitely
That
why
was
I
it.
did, actually. So
He tricked 10 on that ski.
So I turned to Joel in the meeting. We had the meeting that day, and and they're announcing, just honoring on Tim. And I said to Joel, I'm like, man, it's a lot better than you. And Joel's like, you didn't podium or you didn't win. You didn't.
I
win
didn't
junior.
even make a podium. I made an overall podium because there was only 3 of us.
Yeah, congrats.
But yeah, I didn't make the slalom final, the trick final, or the jump final. I skied terrible at junior masters.
That puts into perspective. I mean,
Yeah.
look, if Tim can get to your level, it would be absolutely phenomenal. But like, I mean, it shows the level that he's at.
I
at
do
this
believe
stage.
he's the next one.
Yeah.
I think he, like what I'm doing, he's on that path, like almost down to the T of like what he's doing, how he's training. Like,
Short Kings.
yep, same height, same height. Like literally, I'm like a centimeter taller than him.
And
We have the same arms.
he's like, I got that
yeah,
centimeter.
like
Yeah, I
one
got it.
centimeter.
But I also think that like you were naughty when you were young, and he's not. So he might.
He might go further.
He
Yeah,
might.
He
You-
might just be
Take
sneakier about it.
detours.
He's German, so.
That's
yeah,
right.
true. Gets away with it.
I heard rumors that you were like sneaking out and getting Ubers when you were like 16 and going into Orlando to get a drink or something when you were that age. You've turned it
He was also
around.
crapping
I have turned it around. Yeah.
So
No,
so Brooks, what was that
I
story?
had a bit.
Yeah,
more
what was
of
that, Brooks? You just mumbled something over there. What was that?
Is this the sock one?
No.
Oh, okay.
Sock one.
Okay.
There's
We'll leave that one
there's
too.
multiple ones.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we were talking about trick though, and this is something that's fascinating from outside looking in. It seems like an incredibly young man's and women's game. Am I correct in the age part of it?
Yeah.
What do we
Joel
attribute
is the
that to?
old
Because
man of tricks.
Yeah, no kidding.
you just have to have a lot of time on water to be good at trick skiing. I think because it's incredibly difficult.
But when you're young, you can do more. You recover quicker,
Faster,
and faster,
more
and
agile.
like if you look at these young trickers that have come through, they've really focused on trick first as like kids, whereas you used to maybe focus on slalom
Yeah.
and then pick up tricks.
Yeah.
These kids were born trickers, and then they figured out slalom and jump later on. Like if
And
you
they're
look at
they're
Jake,
just out there all day.
yeah,
All day.
and
And
like
it's a speed game right now, and they're fast.
Yeah.
Because you can do as many tricks as you want, correct?
Yeah, and they're
And
getting
then
more
the-
tricks
between
in
the
because they're going fast.
boost.
And that's kind of, I mean, we've danced around the topic of trick point values, but right now the trick point values reward doing more tricks versus doing harder tricks.
Who sets these values? Like if you come up with a new trick, how do we set a value?
It'll be about. I can tell you, he comes up. He can do a triple backflip 720,
Sure.
and it's going to be about 990
A
points.
triple would
Because-
be 1,500 plus 3, so that would be.
Well, so
It would be
I mean, this is a shop
That'd
talk
be
episode, right? Actually, probably one of the
1850.
most interesting areas of the sport right now is exactly this issue. And I mean, I'll say that as a slalom skier, like Joel is sorry, but Joel's getting absolutely hosed because he is arguably the best trick skier in the world, but the system is not set up to reward him because the system is set up to, if you do more tricks in 20 seconds, then it's better than doing like bigger tricks. And it's because the old losers who are scared of the sport becoming wakeboarding, they want it to be traditional.
So is that why you see a bunch of the side slide shit and like all sorts of these things getting
That's more just
alright,
filler.
That's a
but
piece
yeah.
of it. Like
filler?
that's part of the art of trick skiing is
Okay.
putting your run together in a creative way and making it flow quite efficiently to get in.
Not because it looks better, but because it'll score higher. Because
Exactly.
You just
We
get
know
points where you
where-
can get them.
You got to know where to put those tricks in a run. Like you're not
Gotcha.
as much as it looks like they're just throwing a 180 midway through their run. They're doing it to almost like set
Position.
a rhythm, position.
get the points set
It's
up.
like when you play snooker
Yeah.
or pool, right? Like
Gotcha. You're thinking about the next one.
you put the ball where you want it to, and that's exactly what they're doing. But that's what I shouldn't be too negative because it's just who they are. But there's a group of people that are worried about the sport changing and becoming, they're so scared of wakeboarding. They hated wakeboarding because that ruined their careers and all the money fell out trick skiing and all that sort of stuff. So, but
But it'll
the
mess
crowd-
everything up for a year, and then it'll reset itself.
and like the coolest thing, like the two coolest tricks that anyone does in trick skiing is, well, Joel's super mob, which is his backflip 540 landing on the other side of the rope, and no one else really does that. But it's not that Joel does it very consistently, apart from at the Worlds that one time. But
Yep.
whatever. Sorry. It's not valued high enough.
So
It's a very hard.
What's the
trick.
value of that trick? And then compare it to another
950,
one.
970.
So if you do a flip 180, it's 750 points.
Like a backflip with a 180,
Sure.
which
If
is
you then
a
do-
nothing trick.
Yeah.
If you do a backflip 540 over the rope,
Yeah.
it's 950 points. You get 200 points for doing
Something
going
that
over the rope and a 360, which is nothing.
sounds way more than like it should be a way more gap.
Yeah, and
way bigger gap.
so what they've done is they've put a benchmark. They put the double flip in at 1,000 points,
which no one does.
which no one's ever
has
done. No one's ever seen it, but they did that because a backflip was 500, and so double flip is 1,000, and so everything's put below that. Whereas Joel, realistically, I know Joel's in the middle of this whole political thing, so I mean I can kind of speak on not on your behalf, but I can speak for it, probably easier than you. But like as an external person, like we want to see variation, and unfortunately, there's a big problem in tricks that basically everyone's sort of forced to do the same kind of runs,
Yeah.
and it's who can do it faster and who can do it like cleaner to where they land the correct way and do the rope and all that sort of stuff. But like what would be way cooler would be if like you turn up at the Swiss Pro Tricks in the start of next year or in 2 years' time, and everyone's doing a completely different run, and some people go fast, and that's their speciality.
So people go big.
Yeah, and then some people go
Big
big.
hard tricks, yeah.
So like Joel can actually be incentivized to do his front flip 540. I mean, no one will ever do that in a tournament because there's such a high risk of falling on it. And
But if the points are there,
exactly.
If the points are there, then
the points
it
are there,
makes sense.
Yeah.
But
And also you're also stifling creativity because apart from Joel, who just likes water skiing, no one who's trying to be the best tricker in the world, i.e. the one that wins the most tournaments, is going to try and innovate and make these new tricks.
you're limiting creativity and progression of the sport.
Yeah, which is like, do we want to see the same runs we've seen forever, just a bit faster? I mean, that's cool, and that'd be cool for one sort of person. And those guys that do that, they're amazing athletes. I'm not taking anything away from them, but like the best thing for the sport is to see variation and to encourage people to have multiple ways around the tree.
And you got to look at body types a little bit too. Like I think a huge part of trick why they're like seeing these kids come through is when you're smaller, you weigh 130 to 150 pounds. Faster is easier. Like you can go slower with a boat, you can move a little faster, and then as you become a bigger person, you can keep that speed, you can learn to go as fast, but it definitely is harder. So then someone like me who's bigger, stronger, are like, okay, I've got the strength to do big tricks, so I'll go learn big tricks. But, there's a point where you go, well, the slam it takes to learn this trick is just not going to be worth the extra 50 points you're going to get.
Yeah.
Like a while ago, I was trying to do a Super Mob 7. So you do a backflip 720 over the rope. But there's not much point in doing it because they've made it very clear that no trick can be worth more than 1,000 points. So the backflip 540 over the rope is 950. If you did the 720, it would still be 950. So there's no benefit to do that 180. And yeah, I tried like 3 of them, and it was like the worst crashes of my life. So I was like, I'm never going to try that again. Like,
I mean, just do double flip.
Yeah, too.
I've tried a couple double flips
easy.
as well. Not very fun. Didn't love that.
I don't see how you could get a double flip around. I'm sure some kid at some point
You
might be
can.
able
You
to
hit
do
a
it,
double
but,
up,
like-
you could do it.
No,
But in a
off the
trick
normal
run,
trick
in a
run.
run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The only way it would work is if you made your rope way longer, really loaded up the boat, and
Then it
just
would
turn
take
it into
And
weight.
it would be like an S-bend, no? Like am I using that terminology correctly? Like if you laid out and spun kind of
Yeah.
flat.
Kinda.
That would
But
be
they
so
would
terrifying.
they would
Yeah.
call it not credit, right? Like
Dude,
Yeah, because it's got to be in
'Cause it's
plane
aimed
above
over
the
head,
head.
yeah.
So
they already call flips not credit sometimes because the ski didn't go
It's
enough
so
over
late.
your head.
That's a cork, not a flip. Interesting.
I guess.
Wow, there's a lot of nuance to the trick skiing point thing.
No, but
I was very interested in
and
that.
it's happening behind the scenes right now. Whereas like there's a push, and I mean like I say, like for the trick skiing, I always say this, and I truly believe it. The trick skiing has the highest potential of any of our events because we can put it anywhere, like wakeboarding, but you know, but even trick skiing even more because you don't need a big 200 gram boat. You can or 300 gram, whatever it is. You can do it with sort of with a ski boat, which is less pricey. And you can put it basically anywhere. You can judge it very, very easily. You can put it in a river downtown, no problem. But it's not good to watch because trick skiing right now, it's not so good to. It's cool, but it's not reaching its potential because you have a lot of people doing the same run.
Yeah.
And that's boring. And then also then it's finished, you have to wait 20 minutes afterwards to see who won and stuff. So if we could, I want to see Joel Poland or whoever the next guy is to do these massive tricks. So they're just variation. And then we're going to have more people that are going to be interested in it. And then that can be the one, instead of slalom being the one that, or jump being the one that people sort of think of the most and think of water skiing, like trick skiing is kind of being seen as the ugly stepsister at the moment. That doesn't always have to be the case. It could be the one that we send out and just to tournaments all over the world and they make the most money instead of the least money.
Yeah. Interesting.
You got to blow it up to build it up.
Now for a quick word from Malibu. This summer, ride with the best at the 2025 Malibu Just Ride Tour. Malibu's pro team will be on the water coaching riders of all levels, whether you're learning your first spin or chasing your first double flip. This is your chance to level up behind the world's best wake boats and with some of the best riders out there. Powered by GM Marine, the muscle behind Malibu's legendary performance, you'll feel the difference the moment your line gets tight. Spots are limited. Sign up now at malibuboats.com/justride and experience the truth on the water. Get out there, have fun, hit the Malibu Just Ride Tour. So we're diving back in, and Brooks and I, we've had a fair bit of Malort over the years, 2 or 3 shots total. So
Malort.
more than you would ever need.
Most people
or
would
want.
need, yeah.
But he brought these Malort mints. What do we got here?
So candies with a surprisingly long aftertaste.
That's
which is
awesome.
terrible because Malort is known for having a terrible aftertaste.
I would akin it to gasoline.
Yeah, it's fire.
So how do they stay in business if it's that bad? Just because they lean into how bad it is?
Well, it's a Midwest
I think
staple.
Chicago, right?
Chicago people,
Chicago's
yeah. Like
huge.
I think their logo even has like the 4 stars or whatever. But yeah, people in the Midwest just like shot a Malort in a beer. Like it's a thing. But they lean into like most people that haven't had it and people that have had it, it's just terrible. It's like a bartender's drink too outside of like Chicago or the Midwest or whatever. But
Yeah, and if you go to a bar and you see it and you're with somebody that hasn't had it, it's basically mandatory that you
get it for them.
You get it for them.
I watched Jake just die having a shot of Malort at Anchor Bar in Grand Rapids, where Hunter and I bonded over it. So, with that, let's
try Malort candy.
Try
Did you get this from official Malort?
Yeah, Malort
website?
Malort sells these.
Okay, take one and pass it around, I guess.
Real sticky. I wouldn't go for a big one if I were you.
You might have to close it and
Might need to
bang
give
it.
a little smack. But like their marketing is incredible. Like their social media.
Yeah,
just
so
leans
I
into
saw
that.
that. I was listening
They have
to your
stickers
podcast.
that instead of "I voted" say "I'm Malorted." And then there's like videos of people trying to take a shot and keep a straight face, which is impossible.
It's a tough task for sure.
How'd you go?
Oh wow!
It even says Malort sucks.
It says
on the
Malort
candy.
sucks
That's
on
pretty
the
good.
candy. I mean, it smells fine.
All right.
Going in. Yeah, this tastes like shit.
Oh,
This tastes exactly like Malort, though. No.
yeah.
It's getting worse and worse.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
the build up.
Tonight you'll be eating dinner and still be tasting it. Wow.
It's better than the salts.
It's better.
Yeah,
than
it's
the
better
build
than
I
up.
prefer this.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a wild take.
Yeah. That's absolutely crazy.
This feels like a product.
I don't actually hate it.
This is wild. You like this?
I don't hate it.
Maybe this is the mental
English
unlock
people.
right
It's not
here.
as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Pop
actually.
one of these.
Well, if anyone on the Lord is
Surprisingly
listening, sponsor
low.
the
Yeah, sponsor the Grab Matters podcast.
Sponsor Grab Matters
we'll have all
podcast.
the guests do it here. All right, so moving on. I think it'd be interesting to touch on. You guys are both pro water skiers. To
When
kids,
you say both, you mean Freddie and I or Joel and I?
me actually, and you. That's what I was talking about. So to kids who want to be a pro water skier, I mean, what do you two have to, or three, I guess, all of you guys have to say? You know, it could be advice, just anything.
I think based on the two of us, grew up in England, in a small part of London called Wandsworth. It's pretty cool. We're from the same area. Like I walk past Joel's house, on my very sober way back from a bar at 4 a.m.
Is Luke a kid from this area as well? Somewhere around here? Or no?
I don't know
No,
where
he's
Lucas from.
sorry.
Is he sorry?
He's sorry.
Yeah,
He's
not
not
far
too
away.
far from where my mum lives, though.
What do people have to? I'm sorry. This
Time on
the
water.
taste is kind of weird.
Shag.
It's taking my mind off of the question.
might-
How to be a pro skier just stuck in the suburbs of London.
I think it massively helps if you have, like, if you just have some decent guidance. Like, so many people are out there just, like, go ski with a coach here for 1 week, go ski with a coach there for 1 week, go home, figure it out by themselves. Like, you're so much better off just having someone who can be a bit consistent. They don't even have to be the best guy in the world, but, like, someone that can help you figure it out and give you a bit of direction. And then you have to be willing to learn. Like, you don't get here without, like, studying and putting in the hours and, like, being a student. Like,
Student of the game.
you got to be a massive student of the game. I mean, I don't know how many hours of skiing you've watched, but I'm sure it's a lot. Like, you're constantly breaking down videos, constantly trying to understand it and figure it out. It's not just going out skiing and then waiting till the next day to go again. It's like, film it, break it down. What did I do? How can we be better? What's my philosophy? Like, I think a huge one is, like, having someone to help with that direction a little bit, especially when you're figuring it out, like, from a fundamental standpoint. And then you're in charge of figuring it out from there. And, like, you got to be accountable for, like, what happens.
Well, it's like the 10,000 hours idea, right? Where if you spend 10,000 hours doing something, you could be a pro at it, but that's just not passively doing the activity. It's actively
focused
working
hours.
on the
Yeah.
activity. Yeah.
You could put some kids in there for 10,000 hours and they'd be useless.
Yeah.
And because they're not doing it. And I think, like, to your point, Joel, I think I agree with you on both. Like, the people that go from ski school to ski school, like, that's fine. You'll get good coaching, but you do need sort of someone to have, like, a bit of a game plan for you, or, like, or at least to check you up on your progress.
Yeah.
And to,
it can be a parent. Like, for me, a big one was my dad and him helping me with direction of, like, what to do career-wise. Obviously, I've had, like, John and Matt, which have been huge, but, like, so I've had 3, which is a massive benefit. But, like, just having one person to help you, like, navigate a pro career and how to get there and, like, kind of look at it with you. Like, I think that's a massive benefit. Like, no one gets there solo.
No, oh my God, no. And I think that, like, what I can say for myself, I think that, and I think you benefit from this too, but is the biggest thing that I look back on and I'm grateful for was, like, with John, I would encourage a kid not to put himself in a situation where they've got someone going, do this, you know, and what we had with John Battleday and you had with Matt, and then the, you know, guy in Greece, Dimitri Kourounis, like, it was a conversation. And you don't get good, like, you can have a good kid who never understands it. And I mean, if you look at all the guys that we ski against, all the good ones, super analytical. You don't become analytical through a dictatorship relationship. And I've seen those. There's guys, I mean, there's a couple of guys I'm thinking of in my head right now who I'm not going to name, but, like, all the, like, these sort of, you know, somewhat big coaches or whatever. And, you know, you see how they ski and you see the people that they train, and they're sort of automatons and robots, and they never think on their feet. They can't bring their heart rate down. You know, they can't be at the Masters and go, oh my God, it's so rolly. Like, what are my keys? They're thinking, oh, I need to talk to this guy.
They're looking to the bank.
Yeah.
Like,
And that, like, so I would say my number one, to sort of basically build on what you said, like, my number one thing would be don't, like, if you're going to choose someone who's going to be your guy, let it be someone that's going to, as much as there's, you know, obviously a dynamic from an adult to a child, but, like, be on the same level. And I think, like, I always say that about John. Like, John was amazingly good at that, where I was 12 years old and he'd say, why did that happen? And I'm going, well, I don't know why. And he's like, no, why did it happen?
Yeah.
And
Tell
that,
me why.
Think for
Yeah.
yourself.
yeah.
Well,
And
you have to understand what you're doing. I mean, skiing is very physical, but when you can understand why you're doing what you're doing, it becomes so much easier. And I think that's the biggest breakthrough from coaching that I see, is when you can get someone to understand the concept of what they're trying to do, of you're not just trying to go around all 6 buoys, or you're not just trying to jump as far as you can, but what makes that happen.
Yeah.
And I think is massive. Like, when, like, you're just talking about jump, and like that analytical, the input determines the output, right? Like, what you do. And I think that's why so many people can ski so late in their careers, is because the longer that you ski, the more you understand why you're doing. And you're one of the biggest students of the sport that I think I know, and understanding why you're doing what you're doing. And you're very analytical. You're skiing of not just like, oh, my gait feels good when I do this, so I'm going to do it. But why does your gait feel good when you do X? It's because it puts you on a path that's different or whatever that may be, and it allows you to determine your speed and your line and your rhythm that you're on. And I think the most unique thing about skiing, water sports, is the fact that the boat's pulling you. It's the different element than most other sports, and it's that relationship with the boat and how you move with it, and that's constantly evolving as new boats and things come out, which is, I think, one of the most unique things is like learning how to work with that element too.
It's interesting though when you look at like slalom and jump is 100% like that. Trick is not. Like trick is program the kid.
Yeah.
Like do this, do this, do this. And the kid just sticks his elbow here and puts his head like that and pushes like this. Like you program someone
but
to
we
be
do not
more
understand
it's more of a
if you
team sport.
understand why you put your elbow there, that it helps.
Nah,
Like,
dude,
I'm a
like
terrible
these-
tricker, so I don't know.
like these, like I ski with some of these kids coming through and like,
Name them.
okay, so
Yeah, name some up and covers. Let's name some names.
I will name one of them, like Matty.
Yeah.
He has no idea what he's doing. He's not thinking, he's just doing it.
Yeah.
And
That's a
you just
clip.
program the kid.
Yeah, this is like the best tricker in the world. Like
Yeah.
seriously good. So yeah, that's
But that is really interesting, though.
He is better now, and like when I first was going out to Chile to go ski with him, I'd ask him like, "What happened?" And he's like, "I have no idea."
and he's doing all this crazy stuff, and he's the best toe
and he's
tricker in
like
the world.
gonna be the at this point. He's like on par with me. He's not quite beating me, but he's definitely on par. And the kid had like no idea what he's doing, and I'm sitting there looking at everything, breaking it all down, really trying to make sense of it. And I'm watching this kid who's just like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and had to adopt a little bit of that in trick. Like you can't.
Yeah,
Just have faith in the process.
You
Like,
you just train and put things in the right place for it to work, and then you switch off.
But then I get like, for you, who's not just doing tricks that someone taught you,
Yep.
that is inventing tricks. What does that process look like for you? So obviously, you came up with Super Mob.
Yep.
And you knew it was possible. Are you then teaching yourself what that little movement is?
Yeah, so you
And-
like piece together. So for me, I am analytical. Like I break shit down.
So
and
maybe
I think it's
because
helping-
you're analytical, you can do that. Whereas whereas these other kids, they're like they're learning everything that's done before and just doing it maybe in a better and faster way.
I like to say they get like programmed. You know, like the coaches kind of come in, program them how to do something, and they just go and do it. And you can just say, hey, like put your knee 3 inches that way, and they'll do it, and it will just be better. But not every kid can do that.
One of the coolest
Like-
things I remember is when you had just started doing Super Mob, and then we had the radar shoot, and you ended up doing 100 Super
Yeah.
Mobs in like an hour trick set or whatever it was.
Yeah, a full hour set.
But it like after that moment, I feel like you were riding a brand new trick ski, you were riding a boot you don't normally ride, but like just because you were forced to do it, like I feel like after that, not that was the like catalyst, but like Super Mobs came way more consistent during that spring.
That was
Obviously,
definitely like
not
I
just
just
at the radar
figured out
shoot.
that trick. That was within 2 months
Yeah.
of figuring that trick out, and that was the most I'd done.
Yeah, and it was
And
really
where
cool
I
to
just
watch
did
you
that
just
one
like,
trick
Yeah,
back to back, back to back, back to back. I mean, I understood how to do the trick, but that forced me to do it without thinking.
yeah, the repetition. It was cool to watch,
Yeah.
like just the consistency go. Like,
And that boot
Boom,
thing
boom,
made
boom,
me
boom.
like I was on a different boot. It was softer. Like everything was just different in the feeling. So you're not as comfortable, and you just got to throw it and trust it. And after doing that, I'm like, okay, this is going in my trick run. Like if I can do it on this
awesome.
with a random rope and like everything's wrong, this is going in the run. Like I've got this.
Interesting. How often are you guys filming yourselves ski? And
Every
interviewing
set.
footage? Every set?
Every set, yeah.
Most
no.
days.
Most sets.
I mean, Joel has his whole life filmed.
That's facts.
Just in general. Like, I mean, I'm always amazed on his Instagram. He has like him turning up to the lake and stuff. I mean, I'm not that egotistical, but my skiing a lot. Yeah, every set, every pass, more or less.
And when are you looking at it? Are you looking at it right after you get out of the water, or do you go in at night and then you like pull it up on your computer? And look at it?
It depends what I'm doing, but yeah, I mean, like often right after. It really depends on the day. Like, and it depends. Like, if I skied badly, I want to look at it immediately. If I'm skiing well, I'll look at it. I might not look at it, but I need to have it just in case. And yeah, it's I have a lot of videos of me skiing on my phone. A lot.
Yeah.
It's like all the storage. And like, it's cool sometimes to kind of go back and go, okay, well, I was skiing really well. I know like I was skiing well like last September, and I was, okay, what am I doing different? And you can kind of pull it together. And yeah, video is really important. And I think, again, we kind of go back to like, we were talking a minute ago about how you become analytical and you end up sort of coaching yourself. I know you have Matt, but I have like, I'm I have people around me that help me for sure, but like a lot of it, I look at myself, and that can be a blessing because you know you have that, but then you're missing some external stuff. But video is super important because I want to see what I'm doing all the time. And like what I really hate is, especially when I'm in the season, I film every set and I'll often look at it, and I'll go to a tournament like that's not like a proper event. Like we had these Masters qualifiers of, you know, before the Masters where there was no webcast. And I found that so annoying because I couldn't go back and watch myself ski. So I've just got in this habit. Like every time I'm in, I can watch myself ski because I have someone film me from the boat.
Yeah.
And then at a tournament, it's webcasted, so I can go back and look. And then like I had this blind spot when I didn't ski very well at the Master Qualifiers. I'm like, well, what did I do? Like it was viscerally annoying to me. Yeah,
I get that. Like especially when it all feels like it falls apart a little bit.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, what happened? And you just have to use memory to get there.
Yeah, and I had, you know, you don't get that because you don't, you know,
switched off.
You're switched off, and then like because you can always take like if you ski badly, you know in a pro tournament you can always go like I remember at Swiss Pro a couple of years ago, I think it was in 2020. Like I came into 3 at 41 in the first round and blew a tail, and at like where the tail popped out and I'm like, oh, that's weird. So but I watched it back and I'm like, okay, well I know I can see exactly where I did the move, and then 2 rounds later I won the tournament because which I wouldn't have done with that score, nowhere near. So you can kind of take the positive and actually learn something. Video is super important.
And it's amazing now that we have iPhones and stuff too. It's
I don't know
huge
how they did it back in the day. I mean, I think
that's steroids. That's
a
why.
lot of, and you know, like I was hurt, but like 6 to 8 months ago, they changed the interface on the iPhone of like how you could scroll through video like frame by frame, which do you remember like
I haven't updated my phone because of that.
Right? And so like now and they came back a little bit, but it's still worse than what it was. Like it used to be that you had this scrolling thing at the bottom of the frame and you could go literally like just, and you'd hold it and it would expand and you could go really, really, and now you can't do that. And so like I have a worse experience of watching myself ski. My ability to understand my skiing has got tangibly worse because Apple screwed up
their wakeboarders is what I heard.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's that's big wakeboarding right there, trying to get in the way of water skiing.
But I'm telling you, like if I wasn't skiing at the time, but I remember thinking like if, like I said, they came back, but if that middle point when they first updated it was shocking, I'd have been like, I can't do this. I'd had to go and buy a new iPhone, like just
to stock. Don't even put a SIM card in it. Just use it for
get an old
video.
one. Yeah, exactly.
All right, I think it's time we dive into another segment presented by Slingshot. It is the Slingshot Silhouette Challenge, and so I've got 3 pictures of 2 water skiers for you guys, and then Brooks, I got a wakeboarder because I feel like you're the most tapped in on the wakeboarding side. So we'll ode to wakeboarding, and you guys got to guess who this is. We're gonna start with Brooks. So pass that on over to Brooks. This is gonna be telling.
I mean,
who is this, Brooks? Who is this?
That's my wife. See,
I
got that wrong. Clued into wakeboarding. So what's actually interesting about this photo? So this is at the boarding school when Corey started riding Ronix, and it's not a silhouette, but good job blacking it out.
That same thing.
But I also have this photo was in Wakeboarding Mag. And at Surf Expo, they used to blow up like foam boards of the shots. And so I have this foam of Corey on my workbench. And
that exact photo?
That photo. So I see that photo.
I knew that. That's why I chose that one. I was going to say, I've either setting you up for a massive miss or just a layup there. So, all right.
Shout out, babe.
We're 1 for 1. Freddie, this one's you.
It's my wife.
I don't know.
That's... God.
This one's hard. This one's a way older one. I guess
it?
I'll say that. Yeah, you can show the crowd.
You'll
here.
know this immediately, Brooks, which is going to annoy me. It's an EP.
Oh God.
Do you know that? I mean, it's sort of.
I have a guess, but
Is it Lucky Low?
No.
Shaylander?
No, because he was on a Connolly Ways, no?
Yeah, but I didn't know if there was a moment.
I initially thought Andy, but it's not Andy.
I know this person's name, if that helps. I feel like that should help a little bit.
It's not Wade.
I did ski with Wade once, but no, not him.
Let me see.
That's going to annoy me. I like getting these right.
Sammy, is it?
I mean, this is an old one. It's.
Is it? Oh, I know who it is.
No, I
don't.
Second guessing.
Is it actually an old photo, or is it something?
It's actually an old photo. That's actually an old Waterski mag photo. Like you can see the top.
Yeah, well, I didn't know if it was Photoshopped.
No. That's legit, as far as I'm concerned.
Rubber bit, right foot forward.
We're diving in. I like this.
I don't know. Who's it?
I
Jack
have no
Travers.
idea.
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
Oh, I wouldn't get that.
I don't know. That's the first time I've seen Jack Travers water ski.
I was going to say, yeah, not a famous water skier to my mind, anyway. I mean, the
There we
amazing
go.
coach,
the coach
but-
of coaches for sure. But
Yeah.
that's the first time I've seen.
that's
You got to
solid-
cover.
solid
Come on.
form.
You got to cover.
No, that's great.
Yeah,
What year? I wonder what year was that? Did you see?
I have no idea.
You dug real deep.
I did. Well, and I recognize that name. All right, Joel, we got you you here.
Jimmy.
Trick skier.
I'm saying Jimmy.
I can tell you that's wrong.
I don't know what's
Let me have a look.
on, but it's not
A
Jimmy.
D3 honeycomb with a Wiley.
So D3 was formed in what, 2005, 6?
This one's newer for sure.
Yeah, but it's still not that. That's
I
like.
don't know, new.
That's 10 years old.
I thought the mountains in the background might
Well, I
give
know
some
that's what's
hints.
throwing me off though.
Rubber boot.
I'm not confident in how I pronounce this guy's name. If
Hey,
that,
Adam
if that
Peckus.
helps. No.
So that's
Oh,
D3.
it's the Forestier, no?
No.
Oh, okay.
Wow, you guys are. I would expect more out
Alexei's
of
hard to
this
say. If
dude.
you can't say the name, I'm just gonna go with people's names.
Is that, that would be Alexei then?
Dorian Llewellyn.
Oh.
That's
Is that how you
Dorian.
say
That's
that?
Dorian.
Oh, I guess
Yeah.
Austria with mountains.
Yeah.
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
that does
There
make
you go.
sense.
So you only got the layup.
But that does.
What world
Not like Dorian.
world
You sure it's not
champion?
Jarrett?
It said Dorian on the freaking thing. You guys could be more right than me here, though.
He has
I'm
a
surprised.
receding hairline.
After this, we'll find the original photo. You guys can confirm or deny. So, all right. Well, thank you to Slingshot for that, you guys.
Yeah.
We got the wakeboard one.
You got the wakeboard one of his wife. All right, I think we dive into a Patreon question from Matt Gagnon. And he's wondering what liquid, besides water, would provide the best experience for towed water sports.
Beer. No?
Okay, that's a quick
Like,
one.
wait, are we riding on it?
I would say like you to get your best slalom run that isn't water. Maybe best trick or jump.
I
I
mean,
mean, water's mostly. I mean, beer's mostly water.
True.
yeah. I mean, it's got to be a liquid, which means that.
I mean, milk would be more
milk.
resistance, I would
Oh,
think.
God.
Maybe that could help.
Just falling in with the get milk up your nose would be pretty miserable.
Jello's not a liquid. That wouldn't help.
Yeah, the wakes would be so foamy though.
Yeah, they would be very.
They
foamy,
curdle.
Yeah.
So how's this? So non-Newtonian fluids, right? So like ones where you hit them, and then
Yeah, they.
they push back at you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Isn't baked beans a non-Newtonian fluid?
Baked
You wouldn't be
beans.
skiing
Should we
in
go
beans?
smack a pot of beans?
But
see if it-
what I'm saying is like, so the faster you're moving across it, like literally the higher you would get in the water.
Yeah, when
'cause-
you land on a trick and you just stop.
Yeah.
Well, they did
Yeah.
wake skating through the cranberry field, so it's
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of a similar.
Yeah.
Well, that was
situation.
water. There was just cranberries in it.
Yeah, but non-Newtonian, you know.
I think you're just repeating.
Is cranberry juice
non-Newtonian.
non-Newtonian?
Of course,
It's not. It wasn't even cranberry juice. It was cranberries in water.
I'm using non-Newtonian from now on. I'm just going to test
Yeah.
people see if they know what it is. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. That was an interesting one, but I got another one from Garrett Cortez wondering, do you guys want to start a water ski magazine,
God,
or is there a water ski magazine right now?
there is
print
there's the
issue?
Waterski
Currently
journal.
active.
No, he just released it.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I think I have like 3 or 4 articles I wrote in there. I wrote a pretty scathing one about the Olympics and how we shouldn't follow that dream. Went through the history of how the International Federation fumbled it so hard in 2003, 2001, whatever it was. The Waterski Journal. I think it's up. The print copies went out, and I think that we have it. Like the guy in France, Greg Desfond, who's a great guy. He puts together a magazine. I think he just had twins, and so he's been pretty tied up. But yeah, he puts it together. I think it was 4 times a year. I think this one's the first one in about 6 months. But we have that. But I mean, like one thing that I will forever have, Jim, no matter what you do, you might have 3 Masters titles already, and you'll surpass me and all that. But I had 2 Waterski magazine covers, Joel. So
Yeah, I was too young for that.
yeah. I mean, you wouldn't have them anyway, but I mean, you keep telling yourself that.
I'd love a photo journal. I love photos more
I
than
like
articles.
a yearly type thing.
Yeah, I'd love
or-
an annual. And the problem is nobody's shooting photos anymore except
That's the
brands
huge problem.
for catalogs. Like
Yeah.
there's not like that was such a fun thing was like magazine trips. Like more than just the magazine, all the things that came with it of like projects and fun stuff and like, hey, we're gonna go do this trip and then we're gonna write an article about it. It was just content. Like now it's just people do things on their own and they post them on Instagram and that is what it is.
But I think that it's coming back a little bit because so I spend a lot of time with Thomas Gustafsson, who's a you've shot with him, I'm sure, and he just decided he decided to buy a new camera So
Which he hadn't shot photo. He took years off shooting photos.
Yeah, because I mean,
there's no
because
outlet
it's same
for
like
it.
for me, like it'll be weird for me when I stop doing professional water skiing. I'll probably take a couple years off and then like really enjoy skiing again, because like, but it was his job for a long time, so I get it. But he's bought a very expensive new camera and he's shooting again, and he's made his new Instagram account, and like and Johnny Hayward, who was at the Masters, he was putting, so like there are photographers out there
For
doing
sure,
stuff again,
yeah.
which I think is really cool, and I think I would like encourage, you see like there was people there, like Brett Ellis is filming and taking photos and stuff. So I think a journal would be amazing, like a photo journal would be
I
fantastic.
think an annual photo like catalog or would be really, really cool.
And I mean, like, they do like some people were doing like what are they called, calendars, like which is cool. But I think like if someone would curate it, it would need to be someone neutral, whatever, and someone who would like put the money into it and organize it. But like people would for sure buy it. Like if
but
you could
to your point, we're not like creating that content so much. Like our skiing right now is very professional. Like they're getting these pictures at professional events and coming out to events to get them. We're not doing like photo shoots the way we used to, except for the brands. Like we'll come together as a group to do the brand shoot, but we're not like creating these cool videos. Like, when we grew up, there was like those DVDs that you could kind of get, and the magazine had a bit more of that sort of stuff. Like that side has definitely fallen to the side in a massive way, I think
it's changed. I think like you're talking about Edged in Water and all these sorts of things. Like like that. Like I had that DVD and I watched it every day for like 2 years. But now I can go on and I can watch you, and I can watch Freddie Krueger, and I can, whatever. I can watch all the best guys, and it's at my fingertips, and you can just and that's why you have such a big following, is because people love seeing what you do and your creativity. So I think that like I'm not like sad so much about like the DVDs and stuff going away, because we have something better now. But I think that we have lost, because of the loss of the magazine, we've lost like high quality photography, and like and Thomas, who to my mind is the best waterski photographer. I mean, I'm biased, he's a friend of mine, but like he has at least 5 photos of me that are A+, 11 out of 10 shots, which no one's ever seen, because he did it for fun, and then they're not.
There's no platform for it.
There's no platform for it. So and so one of the things I did actually for that Waterski journal was I did an article with Thomas where I said, hey, send me 5 photos and then let's get the story behind it. And some of them are amazing. And like, so there's a couple that had never been seen before. Corey Vaughan like on a radar like 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's an amazing shot. And every time Corey saw Thomas, he'd be like, hey, where's that photo? Where's that photo? And
Thomas is notorious for not giving photos away as well, which I understand. It was his job. He was selling them to the magazine.
And I think he also got stung, because he would say, hey, here's the photo. Then suddenly that photo would be sent to a sponsor, and then he didn't, and he got cut out. So I think that, and I said to Thomas, like, he won't mind me saying this, but like he would do the same with me. He'd show me on the back of the camera, and then this is like in 2014, 15, whatever, show the back of the camera, and I'm like, yeah, but send it to me. And he goes, no, you might send it on. I'm like, trust me one time, and you'll see that I'm not going to do that. It's for my own personal collection. I'm not going to post it anywhere. If I ever do, I'll ask you, and like, hopefully
put it in the hidden folders.
Yeah,
the hidden folders. And so, I think that. But I think it's coming back. I think it'd be cool if but that would be a great thing.
But and it like along with photos, just like the team trips, like houseboat trip to Powell as like a random crew, and then write a article on it and stuff like that. That all the brands would put money into, and it's no one's going to fund that kind of out of their own pocket.
Well, that money's changed, right? That money's going into digital advertising and all sorts of stuff right now.
You're
Which
promoting.
I don't want to go to Powell with.
Yeah, but you don't like people.
No, I
want to do a camping trip up to St. John's.
I'm very happy to go to Lake Powell with people that I choose. I don't want to be put in a situation with people I don't like.
Yeah,
like for a week.
Fine for you. You don't have to.
But
don't take it away from everyone else.
But I'm saying, like, I don't want my sponsors to be like, oh, hey, go do that thing with these people. I'm just like,
don't do it then.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't want to. I don't want that to come back.
Don't take it away from everyone else.
My ski time. Like,
D3's not sponsoring the magazine anyway. Don't worry about it.
Whatever. I mean, like, but it's an interesting point. But like, there was that video. I mean, where like the one you're talking about, I think is I watched it again recently, Edged in Water 2, where like Will Asher literally says, he's like, yeah, I don't know what to talk to these guys about.
I know. I'm just talking about art, not videos. I'm talking about just go to old school.
All right, so what's some cool shit that's going on in water skiing that isn't tournament water skiing and like just straight up professional, as you would say? Like, what's some cool stuff that's going on in water skiing? So we got Return to Baseline's pretty cool. That's like
Yeah, Return to
also
Baseline's
like
very cool.
like is there any like fun, cool people making videos and stuff like that? Like Brooks, like Wilson Brothers, stuff like that?
Like, I mean, Luca, we talked about him. Like, he's really good at creating content. You got, like, Brett Ellis, you just mentioned. There are...
Yeah, Pato Font's amazing.
Yeah, Pato Font does
He's
really good video stuff. Like
shooting at night.
So what?
Like shooting at night.
Yeah, that's his best work. But I do think, like, there's also, besides Instagram, there's not an avenue for that stuff to go live. Like, I mean, HO does a really good job of creating, like...
Yeah, Rob Hazelwood.
content.
Rob Hazelwood's fantastic.
Rob Hazelwood
really
does
good.
really good stuff.
Marcus does great videos. Like, did you guys see that one of Will he just put up?
Yeah, I do, and I think there's like really good content, but it lives for social. It's not as impactful because it's flooded with like flooding the feed. There's
It's also
so
everywhere
much stuff.
too.
Yeah, there's so much stuff where that stuff was more impactful. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of cool young kids creating really good content.
Well, and we had the broadcasting company put together like a really cool series, which is like slowly coming out.
Yeah, that's
really cool.
I don't know if you saw any of that. It's called the Rise of Waterski.
I think it's got like over 100,000 views. Yeah,
that was the movie. That was 2 years ago.
Which one was that called?
The Unknown Sports of Waterski.
Okay.
And so now there's the Rise of Waterskiing, which they're doing. Like they don't have the manpower to put out. I mean, ideally, and we could clone John Waldron and have 10 of him, and then they could all be working simultaneously to put it out Netflix style. Bam, 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 Drive to Survive or the Tour de France thing, which I find so interesting. But anyway, they're coming out like once every couple months, and like the one of Moomba. Like, I mean, we've all been to Moomba. Brooks missed his first pass at Moomba actually, famously.
One of the times.
Which for a man of Brooks's waterskiing talent, I was very surprised. Anyway. I don't know if you would agree, but like watching that, the feeling of being there was really translated to the screen. I think as much as possible. Like they did a hell of a job of.
Yeah, I watched that.
Yeah, super cool. So that's a really great.
It's got a nice raw kind of aspect to it.
Yeah, and that's coming out over the next. Yeah, I think they're gonna have 4 or 5 episodes this year, and they're filming for next year already.
Sweet.
Yeah, they got all sorts of stuff.
I mean, outside of waterskiing, what La Familia is doing, like. What Daniel's filming and getting that lifestyle stuff, like, and then just the way he's laid it all out. And I haven't talked to him about it. I don't know if it's that thought through or not, but like the way he did, like the Familia Files, like putting out personalities, getting all that stuff and build up to the movie. It's like you get to know those guys, like just personalities and who they are and all this stuff. And I do think like that kind of style, you don't have anything happening like that in skiing right now, but I do think there's enough guys that ski together that have that crew vibe that hang out. And
I was gonna ask, are there crews in water skiing? Like, is that
not in the same
same sense? No,
but there's people that ski together, and like there's people that travel. Like you travel with Luca, pretty like, and I mean, but I think that's what's special about La Familia is there's 8 of them going around and hanging out and that kind of stuff. You don't have that happening.
And all of them committed to doing it, like committed on going on these shoots, and they're like self-funded, like they're choosing to do that just because it's awesome and it's great for the sport. Like
the merch is
that's
funding that, and go buy the merch to support.
Absolutely,
that stuff.
And that is actually that's what's funding the whole thing.
I mean, there's other things too, like they put into it.
They're linking it in with trips that they're already going on to, which helps a lot.
But that was kind of the idea, talking to Tyler about like the merch and stuff was like, hey, if we can make money, that helps. If we can sell merch and it's really cool. Like they got tied in with Funky Snowboards, which is like Massey's relationship there, and then like they're doing the apparel for him, so it's
really good
legit
shit too.
stuff,
like really good stuff, good designs.
It's cool, and like people get stoked on it. Like at Masters, they had their tent set up and did a little pop up, and they're doing.
They had a DJ after the party.
Yeah, and they have like, I mean, they're showing up to this weekend in Winter Haven, the Rider Experience thing, and they're gonna have a little booth, and like they're giving back. Like they all live out there now and stuff, but it's cool. They created a really special thing that. I think is just very organic, and that's the way it has to happen. Like you can't force that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, family. Yeah, it's like kind of the name there, but yeah. Okay, that was interesting, and I forgot about the whatever you call it, Rise of Waterskiing stuff. That's really high quality, good.
Super good. That's our. That's probably something that's maybe not happening in wakeboarding. I don't know. I mean, but like this is film school grads. Making movie quality or Netflix quality stuff. In you'd hope in an ideal world, Netflix or Amazon or whatever would pluck it and go, right, we'll fund this for next year, and then we could pay 10 John Waldrons to edit it all together and it all come out at the same time. Because it's I mean, we always talk about same, Brooks, what you just said, like just getting the personalities. In Drive to Survive has pushed Formula One to being one of the biggest sports in the world, because like people just, they love Carlos Sainz, or they hate Max Verstappen invariably, hopefully, but all that, like, we need to get more of that. But I think the interviews at all the tournaments do a good job. Like, people kind of understand who we are a bit more. And I think that, like, over my career, like I started in 2013, and people would sort of see me in a magazine, whatever, or like on an Instagram post. But now, like, people kind of understand more who I am, like just from seeing me on the water or like interviews and stuff. And so I meet people in like there's a familiarity there, which is actually really nice.
I do think, like, I mean, interviews are great, but I do think you see less personality in an interview than you do in, like, I feel like your personality shows through more in you winning Masters and the passion that you do that than you're ever going to convey in an interview necessarily. Like, it's just very different. Like, and I think that's what's cool is the organic, like, like, I don't know who filmed the video, but you sitting on the pavilion at Callaway, with, like, running your hands through your hair, freaking out, and then Dodd passes that last jump, and like that shows your personality more than like you sitting down afterwards and like, oh my gosh, it felt so good to win out there.
Yeah,
like,
the candid.
Yeah, like actual seeing
you need to
it,
see,
not
you need to see reactions
what you're putting out there.
as opposed to something that's sort of it's almost curated. Yeah, good word.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's kind of the same as like somebody on the sidelines of a football game watching somebody else score a touchdown or whatever, and they're like, that's their genuine who they are as a person. So, all right, Brooks, it's been a while since you've moved on from Radar.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going?
It's going good.
What are you up to?
Having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Boating, like on the river, doing that. Freddie came out on the boat the other day, tried to land a back roll on a kneeboard, couldn't
Is that what it's called on a kneeboard?
I don't know. I think so.
I don't know.
I
would say barrel roll, but I don't know.
Brooks told me that Joel couldn't do it, and that got me out there, and I got pretty close.
Yeah.
What kind of boat are we talking that this was attempted
it's
on?
It's a 25-foot sea hunt gamefish with twin outboards on it.
Good wake though.
Good wake.
Nice
good
curve.
Clean,
It's got a point to it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been fun, going out in the boat with people, doing all that, and just having a lot more time. Joel and I. Well, Joel doesn't show up very often, but still skiing every Tuesday with Trav, doing that, and it's been fun. I did a coaching week, so kind of I'm still involved in the ski world, but it's been fun just having that separation. And I did. I've done some clinic days and stuff like that, and it's fun. Like, it's interesting. Like, so Joel, Trav, and I ski. I had a friend riding the boat one day, and at the end they were like, "Man, it's serious." And it's like, skiing is so different because like, and that is, I can promise you that some of the least serious skiing that happens around. But it's like, I do think, and skiing, like, it's inherently like, it's intense, and it's like, there's nothing cruisy about. I mean, Joel tricking, like, he's gonna go up and down and cruise, but like do his little warm up. But like, you go out at 36 miles an hour, 32 off, like, you're not just slapping the wake and having fun. Like, sure, you can inside hand drag, or I don't know how you do that behind the back thing. I don't. That limber.
No one does. That's one thing you don't know how you do that, because that's unbelievable.
But it's like, it is. I mean, it's intense, but I think like that is just what skiing is, and I think it is. It's like
focus, right?
It's authentically that,
and it's goal driven.
Yeah.
Slalom skiing, get around six buoys. Like, whatever you're doing, you're trying to get around. And like, if you don't want to go around six buoys and dick around, then go do something else.
Well, and that's where it's like, for me, it's like, yeah, I do a lot of the dicking around. Like, oh, if I don't want to do it serious, like, go grab a Cypress Gardens wood ski and have fun goofing around on that. Or like, we had a XL kicker from Wake the City. John Driley had us at the camp. We dropped it in Lake 3, and Joel went over it on his trick ski. We had like little 70-inch jumpers. We were hitting it on that. And it's like, yeah, it's like, you can't, it's just, I don't know, in my eyes, it's not really that easy to just like go take a traditional slalom set and have it be this is like goof off, like fast and loose.
It could be for a pass, and then cut the rope and it starts getting more serious. Like, each time you cut it, it's like more focused, more serious.
Yeah.
And you can play around at the ends kind of thing, but it's like, once that line gets tight, like, you got to be very focused. And
and it's like,
I feel like people don't see that side of you very often.
Yeah, it's interesting but it is very just like, if I'm skiing, like I am, like that's, I want to run the buoys I want to run like through and through, and it's like, it is funny because you can goof around on the end, but it's like, and it's something that you can always do better. Like, the perfect pass is very rare. Of like, so at the end, you're gonna talk to the guys you're skiing with and go like, hey, what, did that 4-ball was weird? What did I do? And it's fun skiing. Like, Joel will always stand up and, hey, did you think about this? And it's fun throwing the ball back and forth with people because it is such a singular sport. but there it is. The crew does do it, and like Freddie came out one Tuesday, and we all ski together, and it's just like it's fun. You know, like yes, you're always going to go back and watch the videos of yourself skiing, but you'll analyze it and you'll see what you see, but someone will always see something you miss.
100%, yeah.
And it can be the smallest thing of like, hey, are you purposely doing this? Is that something you're like, and it's not like in a malicious, it's more just like, hey, what's your thought process through this edge change? Like, what are you trying to do? And it's like, okay, well, now that I know you're accomplishing that, like, this is what you're trying to do. So it's not like trying to teach Joel how to ski. Like, he knows how to ski better than I do, but that doesn't mean I can't
Another
see.
set of eyes, yeah.
Yeah, I can't see something and be like, okay, now that I know this is what you're trying to accomplish, did you think about doing it this way? And that's going to change the way that you come in. And it's, yeah.
And it can be that simple of just like hearing something you already know just with like a couple different words.
Yeah.
Like it's like the same thing said in a different way and it can really make it kind of click. Like I
Yeah.
get that quite a lot. Even the way you coach is very different to the way I've been coached by anyone before.
100%, yeah.
And you'll just use slightly different words to explain things, but it's something I already know. But like that's definitely a big thing in skiing is like you just say it in like one word different, but it makes quite a big difference in the way you approach it.
Yeah. And I do that when I coach is like, hey, if you're not like, I can say it differently. Like if this isn't like hitting with you, like let's talk through why you don't understand what I'm trying to say or something like that. And it's fun. Like I'm not skiing as good as I've ever skied, but I'm having more fun skiing than I've had in a long. And I feel like every time I ski, I get better. Like,
it seems like you enjoy skiing. Like, was there a brief point there where you kind of fell out of love with the like act of skiing?
Yeah, and it was, I mean, purely based on people. Like, you know, like I've always had fun skiing with the people I ski with, and I just didn't have a group of people that's like it seemed like a chore of like, okay, I'm going out there and I'm doing this for me, but I'm not getting ready for anything. I'm not really getting better because I'm not throwing the ball. I'm just like trying to think through. I sit at the end and just like roll my eyes back in my head and go like, all right, what can I do different? Where now it's like, it's fun and I actually feel like I'm getting better at skiing. And like I was talking to Rossi the other day and it's like, we sat on the phone for 30 minutes and two dudes that aren't probably going to ski tournaments ever again. Rossi you can. This isn't, I'm not banning you.
You can. That's nice of you to give him permission.
He probably will ski tournament. But it's, you know, it's, we sat and talked for 30 minutes just about kind of skiing and like what he's working on, what I've been working on and thinking on. And it's like, it's very, you know, it's just cool. Like the idea of like throwing through theory or what. And it's like, yeah, I enjoy that process.
I think that you've hit it absolutely on the head that when you have the right people to ski with, because skiing can be really frustrating, really annoying. And like at the one end, you didn't have a reason to ski beyond the pure enjoyment. So you just moved away from it because you weren't enjoying like the whole process. Right. And then maybe at the other end, like me, I have to ski. It's the only way I make my money. Yeah. And you know, to survive and all my aims in life and that sort of thing. But if you're not enjoying who you're skiing with, then that becomes really horrible and frustrating. So like myself, like I'm down in Palm Bay now, and I just have people I ski with there. Like I love it, and it's the best ski crew I've had in a very, very, I mean, maybe ever. Like in terms of just I've always skied with kind of one person, like really, but like in terms of just like a kind of a group, like it's unbelievably good, and I just feel like that's and it's like the good vibe of like let's improve together, and like it's people at all different levels, you know, and then you know Cooper Tate, who's like he still has like the under 10 boys record or whatever,
Child
but like
prodigy.
But he was like, he's come back to it a little bit and he's like trying to run 35 and he looks amazing doing it. And like, but he's not going to probably ski any tournaments anytime soon, but he's like, he really wants to do better. And like, it's super cool. Like that's like finding your crew and that's the way to improve.
Yeah. And it's fun. Like, I think I probably talked about it when I was on the pod last time, but for so much of the world, that is skiing. Like the skiing is the things they do with their friends. And it's a thing they do. Maybe it's just once a week, every Saturday they meet up and ski and it's like they're not skiing for a tournament, but it's like there's so many people out there that just...
Well, there's a lot of people that ski without buoys, right?
Yeah, exactly. And whether it's free skiing or even with buoys. Like, I mean, there's so many people that ski buoys that don't ski tournaments. Like, it's still fun. It gives you that thing. And it's fun, like, being at the boarding school where people only free ski outside of there, but they get the buoys, and it's, like, the most fun week they have because they have that tangible thing of, like, and it's like the opportunity to ski the course.
And you ruin their life because then they go, I got to find the boys. I got to get it. I had a guy comment on my Instagram post. I haven't replied to enough of that, all that stuff. But like I had a guy, and I guess the post of me winning, getting around the third buoy, like went out to people that weren't following me. which was cool for once because that's usually all your stuff that does that. But
Shout out Zuck.
yeah. So,
Yeah, shout out Zuck.
So this guy, it was the funniest comment. He writes, I've been slalom skiing for 25 years and I don't know about these boys, but like, you know, he cut twice and why is he the winner? And I was like,
He shouted the loudest.
yeah, exactly. Like, and I mean, like to some, like, and this
Hardest fist
guy's
bump.
in the sport, like, and you know, and that's kind of like,
Well, that's sometimes you got to zoom out, right? You can sit at this table and we can talk about all these super finite things, but then
Yeah.
you got to zoom out and be like, all right, who's the majority of people that are actually skiing?
and what a failure on behalf of like, you know, the high end ski industry of not getting that guy to watch the webcast, to like to kind of, you know, read the magazines, understand how a slalom course works. I mean, this guy's been
Yeah.
skiing for 25 years.
He's clearly very interested.
He's interested in it.
Yeah.
He loves it, but he's just over here and we're over here, and we need to kind of get, like, if we can get all of those guys
Just pay attention.
interested in it, then
Yeah.
we're going to have a much bigger sport, bigger prize money, bigger tournaments. Like, you know, it's all better for us. And then you know, then that rolls and we get more and more people to be at that level. And yeah, that was maybe a little bit sad to read that this guy just doesn't
But
understand
I
how
think
slalom
that's
course
what,
works.
again, back to
But he
a
obviously got
magazine.
interested.
Yeah.
Like a magazine is not going to have as many followers as Joel does on Instagram, but it's going to be someone that's, you know, is a different audience, a different thing. It's a different avenue. Like there's more people that used to subscribe to Waterski magazine than ski, you know, are members of USA Waterski or whatever. And it's like, that was a good outlet to people that are there. And it's like, you know, it's great when the algorithm blows up and you get seen by so many more people than you normally would. But
I wouldn't know. That's him.
But I think it goes like past magazine now.
yeah,
Like it's moved to a video world. I feel like YouTube is that place
yeah, YouTube is
to
a really
make
good
those
example, yeah.
videos and like put those edits together, but it can't just be competitive skiing. Like it's got to be those lake power trips as a crew and the lifestyle. Like skiing's meant to be social, and too often it's individual because we think of skiing in a pro setting where it's just me versus you. Like, but it's a social thing. Like we grew up skiing together, you know, we go ski every Tuesday kind of thing. I know I missed a couple, sorry. But
Well, I would pull your dad, right? Like,
exactly.
you know,
and
that-
like, it's a
super
very,
cool.
well, I pulled your mum. Like,
Hey.
that came out wrong. I'm
Easy,
sorry,
easy,
Helen. I'm
mate.
sorry.
But I think like I mean, YouTube is such a good example. If you look at some of the biggest wakeboard names out there, like outside of the ones that we know from tournaments, like you've got guys with big YouTube followings and they've built channels and stuff that like a lot of people follow and see outside that would normally see. Like the same person that's stoked on La Familia vids is not the same person that's probably watching JB O'Neill's videos. And I think you need both. Like
You need more avenues to bring you. And we have like the Waterski broadcasting company making their like films, but we don't have those things where we're like putting together those edits or like,
I think HO does that a little bit, no? Like
You're right,
like Rob
yeah.
Rob does his blog and he's
Yeah.
getting all the. I mean, actually, like I have to say, I don't really watch all of them because it's like I've tried when I'm not in competition. I try not to think about competition as much, but like I think
But a lot of it's still tournament. It's him traveling to
it's
tournament.
all
Yeah, it's
very
cool, and,
tournament
like,
water skiing, right?
HO was doing a ton of, like with Marcus, like with Flow Point when they were doing like the Patagonia trips and
Yeah.
that side outside, like big picture. That was, I mean, Marcus's whole drive at that point was like thinking outside competition.
It
And
was
I do
almost
think-
following that like surfer's blueprint, right?
Yeah.
Of like going to a destination as a group and
And I do think
creating
like,
something.
I love all the content right now, but it is very tournament centric. I do feel like most of what water skiing is putting out to the masses right now is hyper focused on pushing tournament.
Yeah, but I think that's why Joel's successful because you'll see people. I mean, it happened at the Swiss Pro Tricks, whatever. This kid turns up, and I guarantee you, it wasn't. And he was so excited. He was, I don't know, 10 years old, and he's like, "That's Joel Poe, that's Joel Poe." And like, should we go talk to him? Well, no, probably not, because he's about to go ski. But I think they're so excited about you because you have that fun part of it, and like the stuff you post of tricking it's not like, oh, I'm going to a tournament, I'm getting ready. No, it's like you're just doing these amazing tricks, and you throw in all the other stuff you can do, and that's like, I agree. I mean, that's a really important part of it, like the fun aspect.
But that gets so much harder, like especially now where my career has become so tournament focused. Like last year, I like barely had time to do that kind of, like I'm posting a warm up video. I'm not having the opportunity to go out for like a real progression set to just get a little crazy and see what comes out. Not to get more points, but just to like invent a new trick or try something different. Like with all the tournaments so hyper focused on tournaments, it makes it hard to be creative. And like to do those things. And like, I really think we are missing that in a massive way in skiing. It's like one of the main things holding us back is we're not going down that avenue, because like there's not really an avenue to go down yet.
So who's doing like the top of funnel water ski content type stuff like this, or is there like this is really
It's a
kind of
massive
big
hole.
gap? Okay,
Yeah.
so who could fill that, and what would that look like? How, like, what would that kind of content look like?
We need someone who's good with the camera and is willing to almost give up a bit of their career to do it.
It's a lot of effort now. I mean, I feel like, you know, the guys that do all the YouTube stuff, I mean, like it's you got to be filming 24/7, like to get this sort of interesting stuff. Because I mean, basically life is pretty mundane most of the time, and then like you have like random bits that happen that are cool, and like to capture all that, it's like to, you know, to film it and then to find all the stuff and then to edit it. I mean, it's so much effort, and then you, what do you miss? What do you gain from that? Like, what's the motivation for someone to do that? Like,
I mean, what Thomas Herman is doing right now is insane. Like
insane.
the amount of content he's creating, filming, vlogging, doing videos.
That's very top of funnel stuff for me, I think.
Yeah.
From your perspective, that been behind the scenes of a brand, where do you think he's going wrong?
I don't know that it's time and place. I've said it a lot. I mean, to him, there's not a worse time to try to be a
There's just not enough slots.
Pro water skier, wakeboarder, whatever. Like it's, and I do think he's doing everything right. Like, I mean, it is just very hard. Like people right now are hanging on to the people they've supported, and they're not really bringing in a whole lot new. And I mean, there's exceptions to that. I mean, like Dup right now has, you know, signed some new riders and things like that. But the amount of like, and I think what's tricky in Thomas's situation is he's built a following that it probably does demand more funds than, you know, it demands a higher paycheck compensation than what that any brand's willing to put forward. And it's kind of like this crossroads of where do you stand?
Do you think there's a miss of brands that maybe don't understand his value in this day and age?
Yeah,
because he's keeping up with the current trends, and maybe some of the brands are a few years behind.
Yeah, and I think it's situationally just hard of like.
Well, there's just not enough that many spots, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, are you going to drop someone like Massey for
You
and pick
have
up a kid no, you're not going to do that. That's ridiculous.
I don't blame the brands for like hanging on to people who they have, but it's just a very hard time with sales. Sales, I mean, I commend a lot of brands for supporting his riders specifically as much as they do, because I don't think the sales justify the support that's given in a lot of cases. You know, it is commendable to even still support it in the way they do, and it is a very hard thing of like sitting in a meeting with a list of names and numbers next to it, and then going like, okay, could we spend this money better elsewhere to bring more eyes on the products to sell more?
Yeah, and
maybe you could, but I do think there is extreme value in the marketing of athletes and what they do and what they bring to the table. And I mean, I think you have to have it. But I feel for Thomas of just like what he's doing. And I think
it'll pay off. I think he's still young.
I mean, I do think like there's never an instant bag with that stuff.
Yeah.
And so like for him to commit and do it, and I think it will pay off long term. Someone will come through, and he's done a really good job of getting little pieces here.
He's building an audience for himself. So, and it's almost like, I don't know about in water skiing, probably not as much, but in board sports, you almost get paid for what you've done.
Yeah.
And you don't get paid for what you're going to do or what you're currently doing. It's like when you get paid, it's almost like you can breathe out and be like, oh man, I just grinded for 8 freaking years doing all these tricks, this shit.
Yeah, there's very few times. Yeah, there's very few times where you get the money up front because there's promise, especially in our industry. I think in older days that was the case. You're investing in someone's future. Nowadays you're getting paid on the back end for the legacy that you created or whatever.
Yeah.
But I would love to see someone in water skiing specifically like be doing more of that, just straight content style stuff. I don't know who that is, but I mean, it's like you said, it's someone that has to make that decision. I made that decision.
I mean, it's a job. It's a damn job to do what Thomas is doing, what you guys did. Like it's.
I mean, no one ever paid us to do Minute Mondays or whatever. It was like I felt like I mean, it's all part of what I'm doing, but it was like it's like okay, you need to come up with this. No, I want to just do that because it's something I want to do, and it's like
make it happen.
Yeah, and then because you do that, then there is inherent value to continue doing something or things like that.
So you're talking about the fact that you're saying it sort of hasn't paid off for him because he's not got a board sponsor or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
But that's kind of like, that's how things were 10 years ago when things were different, when there was more money. So, I mean, you'd hope that all the stuff he's doing, he's going to be building sponsors outside the industry. Right.
And I think he probably will and is. I mean,
So his income can, like, that, whatever that he's missing in there, he could make up 10x time. Like,
I believe his potential is higher.
Yeah. And that's actually way better for the sport. So in some ways, by him not being supported, it's incentivized him to go outside the box, do something that is like, he's really hustling. I mean, like, he's doing I saw him the other day because he told me, maybe he's like, I'm going to do a video a day. I'm going to post a video a day. And then I'm like, how's that going? He's still doing a video. He's like, I'm doing 2 now. I think he's doing 1 trial reel and then one reel. I mean, outrageous. But he should be the guy that picks up all the sort of the inside outside sponsors, like the sort of the halfway out and, whatever, like, and like sun creams and whatever.
And I do think sponsorship is changing in that, like, you'll see less like 3-year contracts and you'll see a lot more 3-post contracts.
Well, you've seen that how surfers get paid from
Yeah.
Stab, right? And that's the whole idea.
The premise is changing, that Joel will find a bracelet sponsor and it'll be to post 3 times about these cool new beads he's found to wear.
Joel loves beads.
And it won't be this long-term, like, lifetime deal with black and blue beads, but it'll be a quick, like, hey, we just want the word to get
which
out.
to me, like, that sucks, right? Because to me, at least,
I mean, it's more grind, but I do think
it's more grind, but it's so soulless because, like, like,
there's not a team aspect.
like I've been with MasterCraft for like 11 years now, and I believe in the product. I've helped develop it to some degree. The people I like there, I feel like I'm a part of that.
Yeah.
And like, so actually, you know what, like, because it's a thing that really chimes with me. I'm very happy to, when I talk to people and say, look, I love it. It's great.
I believe in that.
And I think those things will stay. Like, I think a long-term relationship with a ski company, a boat company.
No, I understood. But my
stuff,
point is that, like, so, and I'm not a social media superstar, right? Yeah. Look, like, certainly not like Thomas nor Joel or whatever. But, like, I've done my bit over the years to have something of a following. But I mean, I just, like, I have people message me once in a while. Hey, do you want? I'll give you $500 to advertise Bitcoin. And I'm like, no, like, I would love $500, but, like, I'm not, like, it's so soulless, and I find that difficult to kind of. I'm sure you get all these offers all the time. And, like, so if you're gonna really, for 3 posts, you'll take $1,000 or whatever it is, and then that's good for your bank account. But then
you're also breaking trust with your following.
Exactly. One, you feel kind of icky, but 2, like, the people that are following you, they're gonna go, oh, this guy's a bit of a mercenary, and that. So you that, and I've never done any of that.
Yeah,
like,
but I mean,
like,
the reality is, like, influencer marketing is here and real, and
no, for sure. But I'm just, but like, that's what I kind of look at it for myself, like, and the same as Joel. We wake up in the morning and the aim is to be the best in the world, right? Like, and you in 3 disciplines, but, like, and I kind of go, like, the money, I also need to make a lot of money, like, or, at least enough money to sustain my lifestyle. But, like, I don't want to be a dancing monkey. I don't want to be a clown. I don't want to have to cater to people. So I find that difficult, that kind of. Also, I'm not very multifaceted, as I turn left and right. So I have a limited amount of things that I can post, but, like, the social media thing, like, it's tough to find that balance to kind of to be authentic, and then to not sort of, like, feel like a horrible sellout, and that's an important part for me.
But I still think you can pick and choose things you believe in. Like, I think those opportunities, you don't have to take every one that comes your way. I think there's 20 that'll come by, and 2 of them might be something that align with you.
Well, and someone like Joel's probably going to get a lot of them. Someone like Freddie, you might not get as many. You'll get a couple crypto offers or some shit that you're going to say no to. Yeah. So you're being picky and choosy, but he doesn't have which, I mean,
but
to Joel's credit, that's why.
You can view it like it's another avenue, like, that exists that we just haven't really tapped into yet, especially in, like, the ski world.
So new.
Like, no one's tapped into that yet. I'm not really doing it. Neely, I would say, is maybe doing it more.
You can buy the Neely Ross sofa, whatever it was
like,
that we saw.
She's probably the only skier that's tapped into it.
But I'm sure she's getting 100 times the amount of ones that she takes on. So it's like, find something that you want and do it. I mean, she's got
negotiate.
So many followers.
Well, she said she needed a sofa. She actually really liked it, and they paid her a chunk of money.
So, great. So
good
it.
for her.
But pick and choose those, like, and you'll.
But for that guy that's, like, one step down, like,
Neely has,
for the guy that needs to make ends
meet,
meet,
right?
like, for that guy that needs to survive, like, you might have to sell your soul a little bit in the beginning just to get going, to get those few brand deals and survive.
Yeah, and then everyone's going to think you're a complete loser, and they're going to go, oh, God, that's, like, stop advertising me blue and black beads.
If you do it right, If
Yeah,
you do it right,
you're
you're
just
doing
doing
it
it
right.
but
for
how
us,
do you
yeah.
but how do you do it right? Like that's
He likes beads. He's gonna wear them. No one's paying him.
I'm
now.
rocking these beads for free, baby.
You do it right by choosing the right ones. Like you got to know when you're selling your soul and when you're choosing the right
no,
one.
but that's
Like,
that's my
Malort
point.
didn't pay me to
When
do
you
that.
when you first come along and you get these like so someone might offer, you know, someone with I don't know 10,000 followers might get offered $500 or whatever it is
Yeah.
to do a Bitcoin thing, and like, well, shit, $500
Yeah.
is a good deal. Like
Yeah.
I'll take that, and then they do that, and everyone's like, oh my god, crypto guy.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
that
that's
blows
probably
over.
that's not going to
People
be
forget.
longevity. Like, all I'm saying is there's a way to do it that
Yeah.
is good for you and good for taking that on. Like, yeah, I don't. think
But it
that
is like the way it's moved is that we can do that. Like you can view it like it's a bad thing or a good thing. And it used to be for the elites, like only the top level athletes got a brand deal to be on an advert. Whereas like now
Anyone can break in.
anyone can break into that, but you have to be willing to put in the hours to do that and get there.
Yeah.
Like with what Thomas is doing, he is charging in that direction to do those brand deals. Like he's not going sponsorship.
Yeah.
He's going brand deal.
And also, it fits in really well with him. He's a very outgoing, funny,
Yeah.
an interesting person, and so that to him, like he can come across as genuine
Yeah.
in a lot of ways. Where
Well, that's-
I think
yeah,
other
it's
people would
just-
struggle.
all how you do it. Like, I mean, he did a mission deal and it was for whatever, how many posts, but he does it in a way that it's very good content. It's very good.
It's in line with what he
and
already
it's
does.
in line. So it's like, I mean, I don't think that brand deals are bad. Like, I think it's really easy to go, no, I don't, that's inauthentic. I don't want to do it. But it's like, no, if it's a product and a thing, like, and then the other hand, like he then is getting a full blown deal with Jet Pilot.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, it goes in both. Like, I just think not every contract is going to be a 3-year deal. Like you have to, it's still, you know, be authentic and be what you want, but it's okay to not have it be this long-term thing.
Yeah.
It
No,
can,
it is.
you know,
It's just that's I'm of the old school probably a bit more, you know,
Yeah.
and I like that sort of short termish thing. I like.
I'm definitely on that page too of like I don't like the whole selling the soul thing and posting things to get paid. Like I want to be behind a brand and that's why I'm promoting it, especially to the people. Like if someone's following me, I don't want to promote something I don't believe in. Like I've had a few random energy drinks and
Yeah,
like,
you've got some offers. I know there's some stuff sitting.
I
in
had
requests.
this one
What we got?
energy drink and they sent me a case of it and I'm like, I'm really sorry. Like I'll pay you for
Shit.
these, but they taste like a vape. Like I
how do you know
cannot.
what a
Was
vape
was
tastes
was
like,
it
Joel?
was it
Yeah.
was it
He
Malort?
just assumes.
Was it Malort energy drink?
You'd
I
probably
have
take up
no
Malort
idea.
energy
It's
drink.
cool.
I still have this.
I'm not-
this
I'm not
long
gonna
aftertaste.
sue him,
This long.
I've been trying to
The
switch it
coating
up.
in my mouth.
So
yeah, like half my followers are kids. I'm not gonna promote something that's like, you know, terrible. If it fits the brand, then it's like, okay, I'll do it. But
so if a Red Bull came along, would you say yeah?
I mean, it's hard to turn down Red Bull, no?
Monster, Rockstar, one of the fringe ones.
I mean, it depends on what the contract looks like.
They're not
right?
that fringe though, are they? I mean, like there's still a lot of money behind them. And I mean, you know, Monster, I would never drink one, but unless they paid me.
See, you're selling your
Speaking
soul.
of selling your
No,
soul,
Yeah,
I'm,
so
I'm,
you're
I'm
sold
kidding.
here.
I'm kidding. No, I would never drink it.
Everyone's got a
I would
price.
never drink a Monster. But I mean, that's big money if you can get that, right? I mean, or at least I imagine it probably would be.
Well, there's been snowboarders, and I'm sure there's been skaters, and maybe even people in our industry that have turned down energy drink sponsors just for the sole purpose they don't believe that it's a good idea to sell that to kids, and kids is a lot of their audience, and that's, I feel like, such a weird crossroads to be at, trying to make a living in an industry like this, which is hard enough as it is, and then turning down a, you know, sizable offer on top of that. Like, you turn down stuff like, I mean, is there some crazy ones that you don't have to name names or numbers, but like just
Nothing
reasoning?
crazy, like
Nothing?
always less than $2,000 kind of thing, and more like a handful of posts.
Yeah.
Like never over 2. 2 was the most I was offered.
Gotta bump those numbers up.
And
out
then
there,
that
guys.
was like, I really considered it, but then I tried one. it was
But
just
two's,
like-
two's a solid chunk of change, right? I mean, that's
Two's great,
that's like
but-
if that's like second at a pro tournament, or, you know, like that's
Yeah.
probably that's trick tournament. That's probably more than what you would get, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's
But it's
a hard
not
thing
enough-
to think
It's
about.
not enough to be like if there was an extra zero, then you go, okay,
Yeah.
screw
well,
the kids.
maybe 4
Like-
years 4 years ago you might have done this where it
Thanks
was
for the
like, I
kids.
need this now. Like I can't, you know, now you're probably in a position where you don't need that 2 Gs.
Yeah, so you're a lot more comfortable. Where like
You can
3
afford
years
to.
ago, different situation.
Yeah.
Like
It's fascinating talk.
Mm.
You got anything else on this, Brooks? I feel like you're pretty tuned in with the influencer marketing stuff. I mean,
Well, yeah, I find it fascinating. Like, I mean, I think the world that we live in it's always evolving. Like we just talked about magazines and DVDs, clearly a thing of the past. Instagram and YouTube are here. And then it's like with that, like things evolve, things change. And I think it's like, and I also think not just sit back and wait for someone to come into your DMs either. I think that's something like be proactive. Like if there's a brand out there you do like Malort, go after them and pursue them. Curious George, like, hey, can I do a Joel Paul and Curious George collab? Like that's the way I've always thought about things is like, let me find something I like and let's
hit him with a good idea and make him say no.
Yeah. And I think, I think that really is the thing of like, hey, you don't just have to sit back and wait for someone to approach you.
No, and that, I think people, I'm very bad at that. Like, I mean, I've, had some success and been, had some titles over time, and I've not gone and, chased up the thing. Cause I mean, there's a lot of things I use, like, I mean, amino acids, for example, or whatever. And all these things that I'll use. And I bought some of those inflatey boots last year when I was trying to recover from I should go and hassle them. They can only say no.
Yeah, and I think that's it. Like, being proactive, I think so many people just want to sit back and wait for a sponsor to go like, hey, man, I noticed that you're skiing really well. I'd love to come. But, like, it's a balance of, I mean, don't be the kid that's just, like, DMing Radar and saying, sponsor me. Like, no, okay, but, like, be thoughtful and approach a company and say, hey, who can I talk to? I have an idea. I think we can work together. And it's like, I think that more people need to get out there and pursue that kind of thing.
I think the old school mindset was maybe back when there was a lot of money in at least wakeboarding specifically. It was those offers were just coming in left and right. You talked to Ruck, he got $500 from some random ass company a month just to put a sticker on his board. He didn't even know what the fucking thing was. And nowadays it's a job. Like it's a job if you want to be a professional.
And I think there is nothing wrong with going to a company and saying like, hey, here's what I can do. And I think that's a lot, for someone that's got 70,000 followers, you have something tangible that you can take to a company. It's not just like, and that's the first time there is really that shift of like, hey, I have this asset. This is what I have to offer you is this following. And here's what, I'm proposing to you.
And it's so, like you say, it's tangible. Like that's a number on a screen. Like,
and that's the first time you've had like with the introduction to YouTube and stuff, like, I think you go back to magazine days, you can go be like, hey, I had 3 photos in the magazine last year. I got first at this tournament. I got that. And you still have all those accolades. You still have your wins. Your resume is that, but like you have this thing of like, and that is, there are like real numbers in the world of like, hey, I have this many followers. This is what this means per impressions per that. Like, it's a fascinating world to me of like how that works and what that looks like and how there is inherent value on that. I think forever, like a slogan in marketing is like, I spent 10 grand and I don't like 5 grand of it worked, 5 grand of it didn't. And the problem is I don't know which 5 grand worked. Yeah. And it's like, now you have that, like you can go like, let's say you did a deal with Melon and you pump Melon hats, you created a link, you can go and follow that link. And so I know exactly how many hats were sold from that. And it is very unique in that world that we live in. Like, use code GrabMatters10 at checkout, and you can see how many people used code GrabMatters10 at checkout. And so then a brand can go, okay, we sold stuff from this, let's reinvest, let's do this kind of thing. There's just more metrics, and like, I mean, AI is here, and that's like, I don't even know what that looks like within our sport, but like in a business, like there's so much like powerful metrics out there right now, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think Joel's 70,000 is worth more because he's a man? It doesn't show much skin.
We're going to get into sexism here.
No, I'm not saying
but I think 70,000 is a number, but also you look at Joel's reels, the amount of views that he gets is real. And I also think like one metric that doesn't exist, or I haven't seen it, that I think would be really interesting is just looking at who those are and what they're liking it for. Yeah.
That's 100%.
Yeah,
50% of Joel's followers are water skiers who will buy water skis, and 2% of Neely's followers are water skiers who will buy water skis.
They're a bunch of perverts.
Totally different numbers. And that's just...
Have you gone and looked at some? I mean, I'm not even talking about Neely. There's a couple that I can think of, like the comments on.
There's some weird.
I mean, crazy, like on like 18-year-old girl, like, and because they're skiing in a bikini, or whatever, and then and it's just like, dude, what is going on?
Yeah, that part
it's
I wouldn't want to navigate. But
and those perverts, they're not going to buy. They're not going to buy anything because they're only
all
there for one thing.
they're good for is their view. And
that's not. But that's. I wasn't trying to be controversial.
No, but
or
I
negative.
also
I'm
think
saying,
that's
but
why.
like, but Joel, the people that follow Joel, they follow Joel because they like Joel, but the people
But they
that
still
follow,
people also follow Joel because it's entertaining.
And Buddy's got a 6-pack too. You got to remember that.
Like
I have a few of the older ladies. Some of the
Ladies?
videos have hit that market.
Cindy
It does pretty well.
But yeah, I do think like
I
there's
love that they're old, by the way.
It's always mums.
Is it?
Yeah, I don't know
big
what it
mom
is.
guy. But I think like it is very interesting. Of like there's in any influencer, it's like how many of those actually are going to sell the product, and that's where you can tell pretty quickly. Like you do one brand deal, and the brand knows pretty quick, like whether that was impactful or not, and whether they move on.
Well, and you got to dive deeper than just this specific number. Look at the engagement. Look at who it is. Look at why they're engaging. Like you could just look at the number.
Yeah.
You could fucking bought the followers. Like
Yeah. But I also I look at Neely and like you look at some of her posts that do really well, and it's just slalom, butter morning. Like what the algorithm it likes a butter morning sunrise, like continuous shot of just that.
What
And
I
it's
find
like,
so funny about Neely too is that like she's a better trick skier than she is a slalom skier, right? I mean, she's a great slalom skier too, but she's known in water skiing to be as a trick skier. But like you'll see her, I feel like on Instagram way more slalom stuff, which I think is kind of I always find that kind of interesting. And obviously it works, and she's figured that out. Like I also like that she's showing that she's a great slalom skier because I'm a slalom skier. I think that's cool that slalom's getting out there as well. But I just always find that interesting that she's not like throwing flips all the time or doing her toes. It seems to be she's got a
But
little.
I think trick
I don't
can
think
be
the
kind of
toes would do well.
aggressive, whereas like the slalom's quite elegant and
it's
like,
got spray. It's got acceleration.
yeah, when it's
That's
glassy and nice and
Glass.
smooth and
like your morning trick glides are gonna do
Yeah.
way better than if you just posted your toe run.
yeah,
That's gonna
massive.
get
Toe run ain't doing shit. I can tell you that.
yeah.
Like they
As
like
my friend Dana
flowy,
says, toe tricks
glassy,
get you no chicks.
good
There
sun.
there was one young, fairly young lady doing her toe run in a small, and I couldn't believe the views on it like last year.
On the toe
So,
runs.
so Joel's toe run wouldn't do well, but I think
I did a toe run on my bum out once.
yeah,
That did okay.
you dipped into skinfluencing.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that one before.
He does have a paid subscription model on Instagram. Do you turn that off yet, or you still got that one guy?
I have
paying
no
you?
idea.
That was
The
super weird. I
exclusive
was like,
content.
why am I on Joel's OnlyFans suddenly? This is really weird. I don't like it.
Nick Rappa, shout out Nick Rappa. He had an OnlyFans.
Yeah, he did.
right when
Early,
it launched.
early, yeah.
It wasn't up long.
No.
But
What
it
was
was
he
up.
putting on there?
What was he doing?
I don't know.
Wakeboard content. It wasn't like he wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Well,
but it-
did you join?
Yeah.
Oh, you did.
No. But I saw
Things
it.
got real
What's
weird.
behind that paywall, Brooks?
But I do think OnlyFans is obviously OnlyFans, but I do think like the intent behind OnlyFans was probably that. But it's also like I do think there is like what was MasterClass, like there is like something out there for that where there is like
Well, Neely has a subscription, except hers, she actually puts like coaching videos up.
Well, it's no different than Patreon. It's just the
yeah,
word,
it's the word
Yeah,
OnlyFans
yeah.
is triggering to like to sex, like
Which they've become synonymous with it, so it's
Yeah.
fair. But yeah,
They do very well.
they do.
I've always thought it'd be a good idea to do an OnlyFans and put like these my barefoot pics, and then it's just you barefooting.
Here's what I was gonna do.
how long did you spend thinking about that idea?
I put some effort into it. I've always thought it would be a great one.
I was thinking I got this thing right. So you can I haven't launched this yet, but it's in the works. You can send me like I'll set up your fin or your ski, whatever. I'll film it and whatever.
I wouldn't trust you to do that.
Only fins.
Hey.
Wow. between the two of you guys, we got this whole thing figured
I
out.
know it's
Screwed.
I mean, let's kind of shift gears here. I guess we can talk season coming up. So you guys were just kind of getting into the water ski season and the wakeboard season. They're pretty synonymous when they start. What's the tournaments we're looking forward to? How many of you guys doing? I don't know. Start with Freddie. That's what's going on.
well. So, God, I've done so many tournaments already, but like just with Swiss and qualifiers. Anyway, so in terms of pro tournaments, we've just done the Masters. This weekend is Lake 38. I'm on the way up tomorrow. Then the following weekend is Monaco, going back to the scene of the crime where I broke not the scene of the crime, didn't mean that, but where I broke my leg. The following weekend is Morocco. Then there's a tournament in Portugal for the women. There's something in France. I'm not going to that. And then after that there's Botas. Then there's San Gervasio. So for me, where are we? We're on the 29th of May. The next, I'll have one weekend off so 20th of June, and then the next weekend off is the 10th of July. So it's mad. And then after that, there's California Pro Am, which I don't know if I want to go to that.
Because that's just before the Worlds yet.
No, it's 2 weeks
weeks
after 2 weeks after San Gervasio. So it's like I think the 20th or whatever of July, and then it's just
come back to the States for one event.
Yeah, it's a lot, and then there's the World Championships in Italy late August, that last week of August.
So you got a full slate.
Oh yeah, it's busy this year.
Yeah,
it's busy. But then what's kind of mad is like on the 6th of July for me, there'll be for everyone. There's only 4 tournaments left. There's California Pro and Worlds, then there's MasterCraft Pro and Travis Grand Prix. So it's kind of a bit of a like super front loaded year.
Yeah.
But Worlds always like it's just a big suck like that. It just draws so much focus.
Yeah, because there would have been a Hilltop event, but
Hilltop, which is such a shame. Amazing tournament in.
Event,
what can I say fairly here? But the World Championships were meant to be a week later, and then through an administrative error or whatever, they had to move it a week earlier because there was a conflict with another tournament. So unfortunately, as a result of that, the Hilltop tournament, because they knew that people wouldn't turn up to Hilltop in Seattle when it's like on a different continent, on the other side of a different continent, and a week before the Worlds, they decided not to, which is a shame because it's an amazing event, and hopefully that comes back another year. But yeah, but it's a big year for sure. And I mean, a Worlds year. Worlds is always like the biggest tournament. I think it always will be.
Is Worlds not every year?
Every other year. Yeah, on the odd years. So, yeah, that late August is going to be intense.
Yeah, sounds like it. Joel, what were we looking at? Are you going to all that shit too?
No, mine's really chill this year. I did like way too much last year. I did like 87 tournament rounds, so that was too much. So I'm doing way less this year.
Are you?
87 tournament rounds.
Is the overall series isn't happening this year?
So we have 4 overall tournaments. Yeah. My next one will be LA Night Jam in like 2 weeks in Louisiana, night jump tournament. Little slalom cameo as well, but it's just a friendly one, me and Big Nev. And then after that, I'm peacing out for like 2 weeks. I'm doing a van trip in California, which will be sweet. And then I'll have like 10 days, if that, to kind of get ready for a tournament in Canada, overall tournament.
You're not doing California?
California will be 2 weeks after that.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah. And then after that, Worlds, those last few tournaments. We got a few more of the overall ones, which is nice. Like, we have 4 of those a year, which is like a nice little payday. It means I'm like a bit more relaxed as long as they go well.
Which they tend to.
They normally
go
right.
Have you lost a round at one yet?
Not yet.
In like 2 years. That's a lot of rounds. Good for you.
It's been good. I lost one to Louis a few years ago, like 3 years ago. But no, so they've been going good. But we got one like right at the end of the year in November, which that's going to be tough. It's like 21st of November. So it's going to be...
But you'll take time off before that and then...
Yeah, like based off last year, like by the time I got to like October, I hated it. Like I was so over it.
Yeah.
I'd done too much skiing. Everything was falling apart. Like just no love for it. Like I was doing it...
Tipping point was found.
I was doing it just to compete and just because I like wanted to help the sport and do it for that perspective, but it was not for me. I did not want to go to those tournaments. So
that's always tough at the end of the year. I mean, like I remember like a few years ago, same, like there was a tournament like, I don't know, 10th of November, and I was just dead. And everyone there was just like waiting for the tournament to be over.
Yeah.
And that's a hard place to perform at. You know, when you're just like, okay, I got to get to that level of motivation to do the stuff in the training, and then, you know, I mean, not taking any away from the tournaments at the end of the year, but like just sometimes like when you've overtrained,
when it's been a long season,
much,
and you get a few little injuries, and you should have a moment to recover. Like that was the killer. It was like weekend after weekend after weekend. So
I find it interesting. Both of you guys do it like after a Worlds or at the end of the season or this. Like you take time. Like you've done your Balis, you've done your New Zealands, you're doing your van trip, you've done your Indias. Like what? Obviously, you've both are so committed before a tournament to training. Is like, what do you use those trips? Is it just to blow off steam? Like, how do you use that time?
It's balance in a weird way. Like we don't get Saturdays and Sundays off. We get like 6 weeks to 3 months in the winter. That's our weekend. That's our Saturday, Sunday is to go let loose and have fun and see friends and like be a normal human being. Like you want to drink more than one beer, you can, you know?
Yeah.
Like really
and
simple stuff. And you do, yeah, and you have to let loose for that little bit of time.
But I think you and I are fairly similar in that way. I think there's people that we ski against that are not like that at all, and they'll ski. Like I know Thomas de Gasperi, he just skis all year round and just loves it. And I mean, I love it, and I know you do, but it's just the intensity. I can speak for myself at least. Like the intensity that I put into it, like it's all consuming and it's quite painful at times. I say no to so much stuff, and you know, don't have a social life. I don't stay up, past 10 p.m. whatever, and so like I'm very badly behaved in the winter. You know what I mean? Like there'll be weeks where I'll see the sunrise like 4 or 5 days in a row, and like and I love that, and so I think you've figured that out maybe earlier than I did. Also, you've been kind of in it for longer than me. I started a bit later. I got to a good enough level a bit later, but like for myself, it's I need to, like we mentioned earlier with the stuff, like I don't want to go on a houseboat for a week with people. Like if I want to have time away from water skiing, like or away from competitive water skiing, I want to go and do it on my terms, exactly with the people that I want to do it with, and I really value that because I don't get to do it enough like during the season. And I think also, like, I mean, I can speak, like when I went to India after the Worlds in 2023, it was I did it because I knew that if I did badly at Worlds, I wouldn't want to think about water skiing, and I did well. I won, and I just wanted to get away from it. And like, I don't want to say like you sort of play a role when you're in the sport, but like there's a sort of expectation of me, and you, like,
you have to be a certain person to make it work, right?
Yeah, and like I turn up at a lake and like I'm a friendly person anyway, I'd like to think, but you don't want to, people kind of, you don't want anyone to leave and kind of go, oh yeah, I met that Freddie Winter guy, what a dickhead.
Yeah.
So
you have to be on.
Yeah, you got to be on. Exactly. You just have to, there's a degree of kind of just being,
Yeah. You can't be too selfish in those settings. Like, you've got to give people that piece of you. Like, and each time you go to an event, and like there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I love doing it, meeting fans and meeting people.
And it's super nice that they're interested in. But
it fuels you for sure. Like, especially when you leave an event and then you don't have any events for a couple of weeks. Like, you remember those moments, and it's amazing because you remember when you were that kid, and like you were that for me at one point. I remember skiing with you at Prince's. And I used to ski at Prince's before I skied at Thorpe. And they had the Prince's Pro-Am, which was like
I really wasn't very good at that point.
You were not very good, but it was because you were English. And my choices were you and Will Asher, and you were a Southerner. And at the time, Will Asher was terrifying.
Yeah.
So
much better skier.
We like could bet money on who you would ski with, and I bet money on you, so you had to take me for a ski set. I don't remember any of it.
I don't remember that at all.
I don't remember any of the set. My dad does. And after that, I thought you were the beans, mate. And then I ended up going to ski at John's kind of off the back of that.
Oh, that's cool.
And my dad was kind of inspired by you too, and was like, okay, clearly there's a place to go. So like those small things, like afterwards they matter. But then for you as the athlete in the moment, that takes away a bit from your focus of what you're trying to do.
I really don't want to say that that's not something I appreciate. I do. I mean, every time I go to like Swiss, I go to Swiss quite a lot, and it's like, it's just great. I love that atmosphere there. Everyone's so excited, and it's so much fun. But like, it's nice to be able to just go away and then just kind of just sit and, not be around the thing that I do and think about. And it's like, it's so all consuming because I take it, often too seriously. So to kind of just be able to go away and just, eat a massive plate of fried whatever the hell they're making in India, and sit and read my book and drink 5 beers, that's awesome. And the same in the winter. Like my best friends are not water skiers. They're people back in the UK, and like they find it hilarious that like the guy that is such a mess through the winter like goes off and actually does quite well at a sport. When.
But they don't see you for the 3 months of month.
Yeah, only see
and I tell them they wouldn't recognize me. They wouldn't like they we'd stay in touch, but like there was one guy I was talking to him, and he's like this good friend of mine, and I was saying, oh, maybe I'm going to go to here and train in the summer. Maybe if you work from home, maybe you come with me. And he's like, yeah, but Fred, I'm going to be working, so we can't go out drinking. I'm like, dude, it'll be a week before the Worlds. I'm not drinking. Like I will not, So like it's just just getting away from it. And like, but actually, it was a conversation. You said in 2022 you were going to go and do like Thailand or whatever, and I think that was, I ended up going to Nepal, but it was actually like, oh yeah, because I was like, I can just go and do something different.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I remember that on the way to Malibu. We were talking about that.
Yeah,
and that was one of my first times of really doing that and going like fully solo. Because it's one thing to go somewhere with a group of people, to go somewhere like fully solo, and you don't know anyone, nobody knows you, and you just kind of have to figure out what the hell you're going to do for like 6-7 weeks. Like, I love that. I love it so much.
The freedom it's unreal.
Yeah.
And when you have no schedule, you've got a flight in and a flight out, and you've got to figure out what's happening in between. And like, that I think is my favorite bit of it. Is like, okay, I'll go here and here, and this is what I'm going to do. And then like you wake up in the morning and you got nothing, you don't have anything to do because you've earned your money for that year and you know whatever, and you've done your obligations. Then it's like you could just sit there on your phone and scroll Instagram, but I'm going to go and see that thing. I'm going to go do that thing. I'm going to experience this. And that's my favorite, most freeing times of the year. And sometimes it sucks. Like sometimes you know. Well,
the rest of the time we're limited. Like you can't just go on a little day trip here or stay up till whenever.
You have to be within, I don't know, 20-mile radius of a ski lake. You have to be nearby, and you're anchored there because if you miss more than, I don't know, 3 days training, you feel like you're on the way back down.
And you can't go and hike a mountain because you're going to fatigue yourself, and then you mess up your training for the next week.
I mean, it's so dumb. Like last night I went to play pickleball. I haven't played in like 3. I'm not very good, but it's fun. I enjoy doing it. It's good for my fitness. But like I didn't do it for 3 or 4 weeks before the Masters because I'm like, okay, I'm already tired. I'm training really hard. I'm an old man now. Like, but I went last night because I'm like, and I woke up today tired. I had my best ski set of the year. You know what I mean? Like but that sort of, I didn't give myself the ability to do that before because like, I don't want to tire myself out.
Yeah.
Even though I like it and it's good for me, I don't want to get tired out. And that's quite like, you limit everything you do.
Yeah. You get limited to a box, right?
Yeah.
All right. Before we wrap this up, Brooks, how was your off season?
My retirement is going.
Yeah. How's retirement going?
Retirement is going well.
I love to hear it. So, I mean, how's the boat chartering going? I feel like I didn't get an update on that. So.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been like a learning thing of just like kind of what works, what doesn't. It's been fun meeting people and doing that. And it's interesting just like how people like boating, like what they want to do, how they want to do it. And it's nothing crazy. Like I don't have these crazy stories of all this stuff, but it's like people, meet them at the boat ramp. It's wild how little people boat when they go boating. Like there's a restaurant maybe a quarter mile from like the boat ramp where I meet people. And so many people just like boat to that restaurant, have lunch, get back in the boat, float for a bit and come
Are you
back.
serious?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And it's, and there's people that go to a sandbar, but it's like, and it's just funny the things you learn. Like some people most people just rent boats for 4 hours. In my mind, everyone's going to be like 8 hours. I'm going boating all day. And I was like, well, no, I guess for most people who don't do that all the time, like they don't want.
It's a lot.
That's a lot. It's a big day. Like, for me, it's like, all right, we're dropping the boat in. We're going to go. We're going to run. We're going to get lunch. We're going to go sandbar. We're going to be on the boat for 8 hours. But for most people, it's like, okay, I want a chance to be out in the sunshine, out on the water.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of like people that are, on vacation or people that, live in town and then they have family come visit and you got to figure out what to do.
Something to do.
Like even when Freddie came out, it was because our friends had their family in town. I was like, all right, my family's coming to town. We got to figure out what to do, like what we're going to do. And it's like, all right,
we're by the water.
We're going, do a beach day, do a boat day, do that kind of stuff.
All right, cool. I mean,
you should, if he gives you the invite, you should go.
That's awkward. You just said that right now. If he doesn't give it to me right now,
I've invited you to, you just hate skiing because I've invited you to ski so many weeks. I gave you a ski last time I was here.
It's right in that closet.
In the closet.
I had to come out of the closet.
Come out all these boards.
Come out of the closet.
Let's
go
ski. Basically a ski. I mean, I was gonna. I'll come. Are you going Tuesday?
Yeah, every Tuesday.
Oh, wow. Tuesday. Look at that.
But yeah, it's the dolphins. We come see some dolphins. Freddie, we went out. Like hadn't been out a minute. Turned around, first dolphin showed up, and
I was pumped, honestly. And I'm like, guys, there's dolphins there. Like, why is no one filming? Like, this is amazing.
But it is like there's so many dolphins, and it's the coolest. Like one of the coolest things is like seeing the nature, like just how it changes. Like dolphins, stingrays jumping, like the way the fish move or different stuff, crabs, like, and just how it changes over time and stuff. Yeah. And like the other day, I was out and there was like, it was 2.5 minutes straight of just dolphins playing in the wave of the boat and just running, jumping, like doing rolls in the waves and stuff. And it's cool. Like we're right by Sebastian Inlet. And so it's like, you get a lot of traffic like coming in as the tides change and stuff. And it's fun, so it's, and we've just done a lot of like fun boat days and stuff like that. So
yeah, absolutely.
And it just, still going to waterski contest. Went to Moomba.
I feel you're going to a lot of things.
I love how you call it a contest.
With the wife.
That's very wakeboardy.
Yeah,
it's a contest.
It's a contest. Somebody comes out.
I mean, technically, it is a contest. I'm just saying that no one in water skiing calls it that.
They should. That's a better word. Tournament sounds
letters.
Joel's like, contest? What?
Yeah, I think I still call it a comp.
Yeah, do you still call it? That's very English, actually.
Yeah.
I'm pro event. That's what I say.
Yeah, went to Wakeboard Worlds in Australia. Went to Moomba. Went to Masters last weekend. I mean, I I'm a fan of this. I mean, I follow it as much as I ever have, probably. I mean, I'm a fan of it. Like,
You ever hop on the mic at any of these live streams or anything?
No,
Should do.
I don't want to.
Should
You don't want
I
to?
used to.
Why don't you want to?
Because I want to enjoy it.
Well, you don't have to hop on the whole time. An hour or two here, maybe.
Yeah, I'll be good.
That'd be too much.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You'd be very good, Brooks.
I know.
I'm sure you have been very good, but it's a shame. I mean, like people would like to hear that from you. It'd be cool.
They don't. They don't need to. I'll just talk to Joel after he skis. Give him a slap on the bum. Couldn't bum slap as many people. See, I'll speak your language. I'll say bum instead of booty.
We could give you a mic and you could just walk around doing your normal competition shit with a mic.
Yeah, I mean, like you have grab matters. Oh yeah, there you go. That's the hookup.
Yeah, I'm not doing that either. Thanks,
You're tough to work with.
yeah, I am. It is. I've heard that before.
All right.
That's why he works for himself.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I mean, if there's anything else you guys want to touch on, but I think we kind of wrap this up here. Anything else on your guys' mind that burning to get out? Brooks, got any hot takes?
Yeah, all the wakeboarders are just stealing all the water ski girls. That's the hot take.
You think it's stealing?
Stealing. I don't know if it's stealing.
They sweep
Sounds like
pretty well.
sounds
at
like a
Masters.
personal
Give
choice.
'em that.
They what?
They sweeped at Masters. Give them that.
Get the brooms out.
Hot takes.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on. That was a blast. I think educating more of the wakeboard world on what's going on.
Yeah, you're just going to get way more.
Well, it was so funny, dude. I had, I think it was after either Freddie or Joel came on. I was at yard sale and someone came up to me. This is a wakeboard event in Georgia. And they're like, I thought you were a wakeboard podcast. You had a water skier on. And I was like,
So they were annoyed.
dude, we've got like 80 episodes of wakeboarding. Can we have like a couple that are, non in the industry? I don't give a shit. But it's just funny.
The people I've talked to, I mean, firstly, everyone was very excited that that Joel and I were, and Brooks as well, that you had some skiers on. And then I think that the skiers, they were like, oh, it was cool. There was a guy who was interviewing who was like under 50. He's like, hell yeah. It was like feeling that sort of like, that they were feeling that vibe of like, a bit of youth.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. I just don't think it's that big a deal.
What's next for the pod?
Events. I think we're trying to do a lot more events this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So more of this, some different video content, stuff like that. So
I really like those little videos at the event.
they're fun. They're a lot of
so
fun,
good.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like the next progression of like trying to be more than a podcast, right? Kind of like doing some more funny media short form stuff, which is just.
Which was the one that you did last year when they were doing they were like two of them on the line? Like two of them.
Wake the City.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Wake
like,
the City.
And you I just thought that was great. You were just walking out to people and being like, who's going to win? And they were like,
downtown Milwaukee.
I have no idea. I just thought it was super cool. I thought you did a really good job there.
Yeah, thank you. That's kind of the plan. That was like a test of what we're trying to do.
Guerrilla journalism.
Yeah, it's fun.
Very
right?
cool.
Get people interested. So yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming on, guys. This was a blast. I had a good time. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you're interested in supporting the podcast, join the Patreon. Give all these guys a follow, especially Brooks. He's super active on Instagram.
I think my last post might be the last time I was on this podcast.
And probably he was collaborating with you. So
it wasn't my post.
You pressed accept.
Which is hard to do sometimes.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.